Well. Welcome to the late show. Man, I have been trying to figure out where I can get in. So many people live streaming all the time now. So I got to figure out where I can get in, or either I'm just going to have to start going in at the same time some of the people are going in, which I would prefer not to do. Because all of us are content creators, and we all trying to, do whatever we do. And I want to see everybody be successful. As we used to say back where I come from, it's enough out here for everybody to eat. But at the end of the day, I guess we got to do what we got to do. So I'm back live. Tonight, what I plan on doing is I want to go through some of these Cowboy coach interviews. And there is one interview. Well, actually, there's two. There are two interviews that really caught my ear. And I want us to look at those. Also, I've been doing some film study on some of these wide receivers. Man, we're going to talk about it tonight. There is a wide receiver in this draft. I am telling y'all, man, this dude here, this dude is a monster. I'm going to show some of his film tonight and see if we can get away with showing it without getting a copyright strike. Let me do some greetings as everybody come in. Whether it be 10 or 10,000, we're going to talk about the Cowboys tonight. Miss Matrix, what's going on? Brandy in the crib, what's going on? Jason Lewis, Robert Benton, Rod, what's going on? Richard, what's going on? Ty Church, what's going on with you? John Corson, what's going on? LaQueen, good to see you. Delta Roots, what's going on? Michael Lowry, what's going on? Yeah, we're going to talk about these Cowboy coaches because, this one coach is going to prove something that I've been saying to y'all since midseason as it applied to one Rico Dowdle. And we're going to talk about it and talk about this particular coach. But again, welcome. Cowboy fans, Cowboy hitters alike, I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Now let's talk some facts. I want to talk about some of these coaches. Because there are a couple of these. I'm impressed with the entire coaching staff. I have to give the Cowboys a hand. I am telling you, they're doing exactly what I thought they should have did if they would have gotten Deion Sanders. When you get a first-year coach, one of the things you want to do is you want to insulate him. You want to insulate him with some guys who know what the heck they're doing. You want to insulate him. And Brian Schottenheimer, they have done a great job of insulating Brian Schottenheimer. Brian Schottenheimer is going to be fine. Brian Schottenheimer is not going to have any problems. Absolutely no problems. They have put together, and I'm not going to call it yet, because we can't call it championship staff because they hadn't won a championship. But I can tell you this. They have put together a great, and I mean an absolute great coaching staff around this man when you look at the achievements of some of these guys on their own. And so let's go here for a moment, because the first one I want to look at is Matt Eberflus. Matt Eberflus has said some things, and I think he has kind of clued us in on some things that I don't even think one thing I think he's clued us in on, we do not have to question what, are they going to keep Micah Parsons? I mean, anybody who's been, I don't know, they're saying these things about Micah Parsons, and I kind of take it with a grain of salt, but I also look at it two ways. Number one, Micah Parsons trade talk, as dumb as it is, that trade talk does not get out of that building unless the Cowboys wanted to get out of that building. It just doesn't get out of the building. I guarantee you, anytime there's about to be a signing of a player or a team is considering signing a big-time player, well, one of the things they're going to do, they're going to weigh out all the options on the player. Okay, is he worth signing? Okay, yeah, everybody knows he's worth signing, but what if we traded him? I mean, what could we get for him? All of that stuff comes up. It's nothing unusual. What is unusual is the fact that not only has it come out of the building once, it's come, and I won't say twice, but the second time it's come from an external source, but the external source seems like they're talking for the Joneses in some respect. And I don't know, you can't ever tell about this stuff. People do a whole bunch of talking in this business. But the fact that someone says, well, if you want Micah Parsons, give the Cowboys a call. And so I think that they may have put that out there, or at least try to get it out there to see what if. Maybe. But at the end of the day, I don't believe for a second that the Cowboys are going to trade Micah Parsons. I don't think for a second they're going to trade him. But I think some of the things that Matt Eberflus says, and I want to see how this turns out going forward. I put out a video about this, but I want to talk about it with you guys and see what your thoughts are on this. Because I'm kind of reading some of the things that Matt Eberflus said, and I'm wondering, okay, one, is he just talking so he doesn't tip his hand? And it's like he said, he can't do a whole lot about saying about this. He can't do a whole lot of saying about that. But the two things I want to point towards, and really, okay, the three things I really want to push towards. I want to look at what he said about Micah Parsons. I want us to look at kind of his concept and philosophy, which he really didn't say a whole lot on. I mean, he just said what he said on it. He just went on about his business. But I also want to look at something that he said about what it would require for the Cowboys to be like the Eagles. And Matt Eberflus said some of the same things I've been saying. And I'm telling anybody, you don't have to agree with me. But I'm telling you when I'm talking, I'm not talking off the top of my head. I'm talking from understanding this game and listening to what guys who know football are saying. And Matt Eberflus and the other coach that we're going to look at, I'm going to show you how they've been saying, they're saying now the same things you guys have been hearing me say. I guarantee you when they start talking, and I mention this to you, you're going to say it's like a broken record because I've been saying this stuff. But Matt Eberflus is going to say something that I've been talking about here over the last week. But I want you to hear first. Let's look at this first order business. So I told you before, if the Cowboys brought on Deion Sanders, and I knew they wasn't bringing on Deion Sanders, but I said if they brought Deion Sanders on, they were going to have to insulate him. And Deion's cool with that because if you look at what Deion does at Colorado, Deion is the throwback coach. Deion's a throwback. This is one of the reasons why he doesn't want to deal with the pros. Deion's a throwback coach. He wants to coach. He wants to be able to walk on the sidelines, say to something to whoever he wants to say it to, and get other guys to concentrate on the offense, concentrate on the defense, concentrate on the positions. And all of those guys do their jobs, and he coaches. He coaches respectfully, but he coaches hard. And number two, Deion, this is one of the reasons too, I knew Deion was not going to the pros, even though I've already said I think he will get there, and we'll talk about that another time. But Deion also doesn't want to talk to grown men because sometimes grown men, you can't tell them anything, especially when they start making money. It's hard to tell grown men. But see, in college, even though they're making money, you get to control that money. You can rip those NIL deals away from them anytime you want to, send them on to another team. But Deion's an old school coach. And so Deion he wanted to be insulated. Deion wants great coaches around him. Y'all heard me say this early in the year. that is actually the kind of coach I would prefer. I like the way Jimmy did it. I would like to have that kind of coach. But, of course, Jerry has already expressed as much that if Brian Schottenheimer wasn't called in plays, Brian Schottenheimer wouldn't even be here. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes Jerry says some things. I'm just kind of like, Jerry, I just don't know if you should be saying that. But, hey, it's his team. He can say what he wants to. But I want you to listen to what Matt Eberflus says about helping one Brian Schottenheimer. Now, let me get some more greetings in here. Purple Soul, what's going on with you? What is my wife doing in here? Girl, what you doing? Purple Soul, what's going on? Jose Lopez, what's going on? Robert Jones, Mike. I got Mike Lowry already. C-Base, what's going on with you, man? Good to see you. All right. Let's listen to Brandy said, I love the disciplinarian. Yeah. And you know what, Brandy? I think when you can coach a team without having to worry about positions, you can coach the whole team, the whole game. Yeah, I like that too. And that's one of the reasons why I like coaches. I like coaches guys who just can coach the whole team. And not only can they coach the whole team, they can coach the coaches. I mean, you can listen to the plays in the headset and be like, hey, hold on a second. Why are we calling that right here? Or have you thought about this right here? Okay, hey, maybe could we get this guy to do that rather than this guy to do it? I mean, I just like the coaching aspect. But we already know Brian Schottenheimer's not going to do that. But I want you to listen to what Matt Eberflus says. And I love this. I was like, okay, this is exactly what you need if you're Brian Schottenheimer and it's your first year coaching. Listen to Matt.
And working with the Jones family and Brian. So exciting.
As a former head coach, how do you help Brian, as a first-year head coach?
Yeah, again, the first couple of meetings I had with him, I said, I'm here for you. I want to really just do a good job of bouncing ideas off of me, experiences that I had, and just working together, to be able to utilize me because I do have the experience of being a head coach for him and to make his job easier.
How important was it for you to bring some of your guys?
I love what he said right there. And this is one of them things that I wish the younger generation would gravitate toward. There is something to be said when someone been there, done it, experience. Doesn't mean you have to do whatever they want you to do. But doggone it, if I'm a basketball player and if Michael Jordan is going to critique my game, you better believe I'm listening to Michael Jordan. I'm not going to listen to him about ownership advice. I'm not going to listen to him about ownership and GM advice. But when it comes to the game, I want to hear what he got to say. And the thing about information, you can either choose to receive it or you can say thanks but no thanks. But doggone it, if Michael Jordan talking, I'm listening. I'm listening. Don't mean I'm going to do it, but I'm listening. Because I want to understand why is he saying what he's saying. And not only am I listening, if I got access to a guy like that, then you better believe I'm going to use him. I'm using him. And so I love what they've done. They've put Matt Eberflus on the team. So Brian Schottenheimer has a built-in source of experience. He has a built-in source of someone who's been there, who's done it. And it's not like Matt Eberflus has won a championship as a coach, but he knows some things about being a head coach. Not only that, because he's been a head coach, Matt Eberflus, I'm convinced. His side of the ball is going to be just like when Dan Quinn was here. He's going to take, and I think he's going to do something even greater than Dan Quinn. I think he's going to have this defense even more ready than Dan Quinn had Dallas's defenses. And that's not a knock on Dan Quinn. I think some of Dan Quinn's issue was they didn't get Dan Quinn the players. One of the things I think Jerry's going to do for Matt Eberflus and this defense he's put together, they're going to, and I'm going to let you hear just in what Eberflus is saying, he knows what they need. And this is why I'm emphasizing again, I'm not listening to players. I'm sorry. People who are talking about all this stuff about players talking, you know what? You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not listening to players talk. I'm just not listening to it. I'm not listening to players talk. I'm listening to football guys talk. That's what I got them for. I got football guys around me. That's like a banker. That's like the president of a bank. And you got a board. You got a board of directors. And you're going out asking someone who walks up to the teller machine, what do you think we ought to do here? No. I'm not asking even the teller, hey, what do you think we ought to do with our money? No, I'm not asking the teller that. That's what I got the board of directors for. That's what I got the people, the managers. I got them so I can get some of their advice, their ideas, whatever they think. And so we don't have to worry about a player telling us what to do. We got guys on this team. And if you listen to these coaches, they know what they need. And one of the things that I like about this coaching staff, you can listen and they're all saying the same thing. Brian Schottenheimer's vision. They're aligned. They're aligned. They know exactly what they're going to do. They know exactly what they need to do. And I think just listening to Jerry and listening to what Matt Eberflus is going to say, Jerry is going to get these guys what they need, or at least he's going to attempt to. But let me let you hear him. But let me get a couple of more greetings in. My man Dro Nose is up in here. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Miss Matrix, she said, I hear you, G, but listen to the loudest player all last season on his podcast. He blamed coaching every single week. You know what? And think about this. But they didn't do this because of him. They're doing it because of Brian Schottenheimer. They want to be right on Brian Schottenheimer. Now, remember what I told you. I want you to think about the two different ways that Mike McCarthy is walking in the building and the way Brian Schottenheimer is walking in the building. Two different ways. Mike McCarthy is walking in the building saying, I've won a championship. I know how to build a team. I know this. Even Dak alluded to this. Dak said the thing with Mike McCarthy, he's already won one. He said, but the thing about Brian Schottenheimer, he wants to win one, and he's never won one. He's hungry for it. And I want to get one with him. That's a different mindset. When I walk in as a Super Bowl winning coach, I think it's all about me because I've been here and done it. When I'm a coach that hasn't won a Super Bowl and I want to win a Super Bowl, now I want people around me to help me get it. And so that's why I think when you think about Mike McCarthy, I mean, you think about it. I don't remember anybody talking about Mike McCarthy's coaching staff in a good way. When Mike McCarthy was hired, I just don't remember anybody talking about the coaching staff, none of this stuff. Brian Schottenheimer gets hired. What do? They give him a coaching staff. Because it seems to me that they're in improvement mode with Brian Schottenheimer. They want to prove with all the criticism that they got. Because I'll tell you this, Miss Matrix, because if they would listen to Michael Parsons, they wouldn't have hired Brian Schottenheimer, I promise you. The Cowboys are not hiring Brian Schottenheimer if they're listening to Michael Parsons. Because if it's all about coaching, then the Cowboys would have went out first and tried to get the head coach that either Michael Parsons wanted, or they would have went out and got the coach or a head coach that everybody is saying that this is a good head coach. You know, they would have went out because what was everybody preaching? Get Ben Johnson. Everybody was saying, get Ben Johnson. Everybody was saying, what's the other guy for the defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions? They were saying, go get him. Aaron Glenn. Go get Aaron Glenn. The moment the Cowboys cut that coaching search off, everybody was mad. If the Cowboys was listening to Brian Schottenheimer, listening to Michael Parsons, or even Dak Prescott for that matter, number one, Mike McCarthy would have been back. Number two, Mike Zimmer would have been back. They're not listening to them. They're not listening to Michael Parsons. No, Brian Schottenheimer. They like what they heard, and now they're going to do everything to make him successful. Because, because like I said, the crazy thing is, you think about Michael Parsons. They didn't ask him who should they hire as the defense coordinator. They said a word to him about it. Now, Dak Prescott, they mentioned Brian Schottenheimer, it's obvious. And Brian and Dak gave him his approval. So, when it comes to coaching, I think the Cowboys are in improvement mode. They want, and I'm not saying they didn't want any of the other coaches to be successful, but you'd have to be off your rocker to think the Cowboys wanted Mike McCarthy to be successful last season. There's no way they wanted Mike McCarthy to be successful. There is no way. There is no way after 2023 you let all those veterans walk, and then you come in talking about we like the guys we have. We're going all in. You do nothing in free agency except bring in Zeke Elliott, who may not be washed, but we all know he's just not what he used to be. Cowboys did absolutely nothing to help Mike McCarthy out in the grand scheme of things. But they brought in Brian Schottenheimer, and now look at the coaches they're putting around Brian Schottenheimer. And I'm telling you, if you listen to what they keep saying, communication. We know that the communication, obviously, in the building was not good. They talked about what? Culture. Cowboys, I think they've been had a bad culture, though. We've been talking about they've been had a bad culture, but it's obvious that the culture was worse or even worse under Mike McCarthy. And then, of course, they talked about continuity. And, of course, Brian Schottenheimer brings all those things. And so now they're doing to me exactly what you should do. You insulate him. You insulate him with the best you can put around him. And that's what they're doing. Marcus, yes, sir. Marcus Rowe, coaches create culture. Coaches create culture. Good to hear some of these things from the new staff. Exactly. Coaches create culture. Now we're going to see how far this coaching staff gets. Some of the things they say, we're going to see how far they get. But everything they're saying right now, I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Miss Matrix, they all praise DQ. They did. But I'm going to tell you something, Miss Matrix. There's no denying about Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn's a culture builder. Dan Quinn is an absolute culture builder. He is. Dan Quinn walked into the Washington Commanders locker room and immediately set them on fire. Immediately. NFC Championship game. There is no denying it. And Dan Quinn, I don't think anybody would have ever accused Dan Quinn of not being a good coach, because he was. But if you listen to some of the talk that came out after Mike McCarthy, what were some of the things? Dan Quinn didn't quite feel comfortable with the whole Mike McCarthy thing. Mike McCarthy a little bit paranoid because of Dan Quinn, which is understandable. But I think with Brian Schottenheimer, none of this stuff is going to bother him. Brian Schottenheimer has a different mindset than Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy, to me, seems to be a very paranoid person. From everything that you heard about him, he just seemed to be very paranoid. And so I think the Cowboys, I think what they got with Brian Schottenheimer is someone who's like, man, you know what? I'm playing with house money. I'm a first-time coach. I know what to do. I got good pedigree. I'm in it to win it. I'm either going to win or lose. And either way, I'm going to be fine. Brian Schottenheimer, to me, has, I just think someone who hasn't got it before, especially when you're talking about Brian versus McCarthy, I just think he's going to be hungry. But what they put around him is fantastic. And this thing with Matt Eberflus, what he just said, is powerful. You want that. Brandy Mahoney, if I was McCarthy, I would think the Joneses hated me. They did nothing in free agency. I would be the same way. They did him no favors. They did him no favors. But, Brandy, let's play devil's advocate. So, Bobby Belt talked about this. How it seemed that Mike McCarthy was paranoid. So he was paranoid with Dan Quinn. Rather than looking at Dan Quinn as much as an asset, he was paranoid of him. And you know what? I can understand him being paranoid too. Because Jerry would be doing some jacked up stuff. Jerry was doing some jacked up stuff with the Dan Quinn stuff, some of the stuff he would say in the press. I mean, Jerry do some dumb stuff too. This is one of the reasons why, you know, when we talk about Micah Parsons, Micah does some of the same things that Jerry does, and that's the stuff that bothers me about Micah. He says little things that could be looked at as disparaging towards his teammates, or could make his teammates feel like he don't like them, like, as you said, Brandy, or feel some type of way toward him. He doesn't think a lot of times before he talks. And I don't know, I wonder sometimes if Jerry Jones even thinks before he talks. But then he has to always come back and explain, oh, well, you know, then he has to come back and unexplain what he said, or and if this and if that. And so I'm with you. They didn't do Mike McCarthy any favors, but at the same time, the Kellen Moore incident. We know there is validity to the Kellen Moore incident. So it's like Mike seemed to be, I don't know, maybe he was more comfortable around his guys, even though he didn't have a lot of them around him. And so Mike was very paranoid. But you know what? By the way Jerry did him on the way out the door, maybe he had reason to be paranoid. I mean, maybe he had reason. Because I'm telling you, man, Jerry told him basically to go out and be successful and gave him nothing to be successful with. Kitty Boy, 2025, the Cowboys were having an identity. Yeah, we're going to look at that in just a moment. And I think Kitty Boy, they've already established it. They've established it. Maureen Baldwin, he says coaching has always mattered. Yes, the energy starts with the head coach and rolls downhill. And you know what's crazy to me, Maureen? Brian Schottenheimer, of all people. This dude may turn out to be one of the best firecrackers we've seen since, I dare say, Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson, maybe Bill Parcells. Now, Bill Parcells had a way of coaching that he couldn't do that today. But Brian Schottenheimer, man, he might be exactly the kind of fire that this team needs. I mean, we already heard the conversation he had with Dak Prescott. Miss Matrix, she said, very valid points, G. It all sounds good. Looking forward to the improvements coming to fruition. Hey, Miss Matrix, we ain't gonna count these chickens yet before they hatch. We're not gonna count them before they hatch, because Eberflus is about to say something else I want you to hear. You tell me what you think on this part. But Eberflus is about to say something else that I thought was very interesting about Micah Parsons.
Be in front of the league, so to speak, but also to really utilize your skill sets of the players you have currently on your roster.
Getting back to Mike, how many conversations have you had with him already? And certainly this is his third defensive coordinator, I think, or maybe fourth out since he's been in the league. You know, obviously different systems, and, you know, have you impressed him on the importance of using him to the best of his ability and moving him around like he's done in the past, or what's the focus there?
Yeah, I really can't talk much football at this time of year with the guys. Just talk with him more personally what he was doing. I think he was at Disney with his kids at the time, but he knows that we'll adjust and make him in the best light that he can be in. You know, in terms of position, in terms of pass rush, and really utilizing what he does best, and that's rushing the passer.
Hold on a second. I want you to tell me what y'all think. Y'all tell me what y'all think. But Matt Eberflus says something in here, and he's going to say it twice. He's going to say it in another question, too. He's going to give a similar answer. But I noticed something that he said about Micah Parsons. Now, I'm a little bit kind of worried about making adjustments. But did you notice what he said? Putting him in the best position to win. Now I've been wondering this, and someone else was talking about this with me. If you're talking about rushing 4 and dropping 7, I just wonder how an undersized defensive end works into that equation. Micah Parsons is an undersized defensive end. How does he work in that equation? Because you got to set the edge. You're going to have to be active in the run game. And you're going to have to be after the passer. But you're only rushing 4. How does Micah Parsons fit into that? But I notice he says, and it's like he's emphasizing, we're going to have him rushing the passer. Well, we would automatically assume you're going to have him rushing the passer. I mean, and maybe he can't reveal a lot. I heard what he said. We can't talk football stuff. But it makes me wonder. And then he's going to give another answer that even got me more wondering. Are they maybe looking at putting Micah Parsons back at linebacker? Because remember, Mike Zimmer talked about that Micah Parsons was going to play some linebacker also until Overshown came back. And then I remember in one of Micah Parsons' press conferences, he said, Overshown, the way he plays, makes me want to get back there and play linebacker with him. I just wonder in this Eberflus defense, are they going to move Micah Parsons to linebacker? And somebody in the chat one day had a great idea. How about you play him at both, depending upon who you're playing? How about you play him at both? How about you play him at, you line him up at linebacker, but on certain plays, line him up on the edge. Be more versatile because, Clarence Hill, he asked a great question. He said, third defensive coordinator, I think it is. And he's talking about, learning a new system and blah, blah, blah. But let's be real. And this is not a knock on Micah Parsons per se, but let's be real. What has he done different in any of the systems? I mean, when we see him play linebacker, that is different. But when he's rushing the passer, where does he line up? Where does Micah Parsons predominantly line up? Where does he line up? He lines up on the left side of the line. He lines up on the left. Even when Mike Zimmer told him he could line up where he wanted to, he predominantly still lined up on the left. He likes to come from the left side of the line. So when you talk about a new system, I don't see this as being, if he's only going to do what he's been doing, okay. I just don't know how much will he actually have to learn. But I think if they put him at linebacker, there's going to be a whole lot he's going to have to learn as far as his role in the rush 4, drop 7, passing and coverages and different looks. He's going to have to know a whole lot of things. And I think I don't even think I know. When you play those positions, especially like linebackers and cornerbacks and safeties, you got to really look at, now I got to look at a lot more things. I got to look at alignments and, what alignments do they run out of? What looks do they give? Then I got to look at, the running back, when he runs out of the backfield. I got to look at stuff like that. I got to be able to play in pass coverage. I'm thinking totally different as a linebacker than I am, line me up on the left side and say, hey, go get the quarterback. Go get the quarterback. So I'm just wondering in this system, because what have we really seen him do a whole lot different? From system to system. In the grand scheme of things, Dan Quinn just turned him loose. He had a lot of success with Dan Quinn because Dan Quinn turned him loose. And then Zim started having some success towards the end because Zim started sending more than 4. Yeah, Zim was sending more than 4 towards the end. Zim was doing some exotic things, disguising those looks. Looking like he going to rush 4 and then he rushed 5. Zim was doing some things towards the end. Marcus Rose says Schottenheimer doesn't seem to feel threatened by his staff. Exactly. He wants the guys around him who can learn from. He can learn from and lean on just as much as they might lean on him. That's it right there, Marcus Rowe. Let me tell you what rich men do. Rich men put men around them that are smarter than them. That's what rich men do. Smart men surround themselves with men that are smarter than them. Wise men don't want to be the wisest man in the room. He wants wise men around him. That's how he makes good decisions. That's how he makes great decisions. Coaching matters. And I've been saying this all season long. Coaching matters. I never was a fan of Mike McCarthy. I mean, you want to invite him to the cookout, man, I bet you Mike McCarthy would be great. You want to have him on some kind of advisement committee, Mike McCarthy would be great. He can tell you a lot of things about football. But as far as coaching went, this man just never lit a fire under a team, and it showed. Brandon said, how can we ask Michael to tone it down if our owner is the ringleader? He's just like him. It's hard, Brandy. He's an extension of it. You're right. He's an extension of him. And the other part of it is he won't listen to anybody. You remember what was it, a couple of years ago? One of the players came out and spoke out about it. He didn't like it. I guarantee you there are other players that don't like it. One of our other content creators in the Cowboys sphere, I'm not going to mention his name. I don't want anybody trying to hate on him. But he brought it out. There are people who write about the Cowboys, and even they say it comes from the locker room. There are people who are not happy with Micah Parsons because of the things that he says. And for people, I don't understand some people, I don't understand where some of us have ever been in team sports and played on a higher level. Man, let me tell you something. There's nothing worse than a person that talks too much. There's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than a person that talks too much on a team. That person causes a lot of friction on teams. Causes a lot of friction, causes a lot of division. And you think about what Jerry has done on this team. Jerry has done a lot of that over the years. Jerry has turned locker rooms against players. Jerry has done things like that. Anybody remember Dez Bryant? Maybe a few of you might remember him. Cole Beasley? Remember people like that? Man, these guys be saying some stuff, man, and I'm in the DFW area. And I've watched how the Joneses have operated through some of the local media guys. And, man, they'll tear guys up in the media. It's like they'll unleash guys on some of these players. And if they're not, I don't know what to call it then. But it's strange to me, some of the things they do to players in this, and especially conveniently around contract times. It's strange to me, some of the stuff that'll start happening. But you know, Micah Parsons, one of the things that Micah Parsons has done is Micah Parsons is doing something that no other player has done. One of our other content creators, he calls it that Micah Parsons is kissing up to Jerry Jones. Well, I don't know what else to call it. Calling him his uncle, calling him his dog. We've been having conversations. I don't have to make the most money. I mean, you know, Jerry. I mean, I've just never heard a player advocate for an owner like that. So Jerry, during contract time, he can't even tear down. He can't even tear down Micah Parsons because Micah Parsons, while he's giving up all the negotiation leverage in a sense, but he's also taking away any kind of fodder that could be thrown his way from the Joneses. When it comes to them, this dude Micah's saying everything right as it applies to the owners. Miss Matrix, do as I say, not as I do. Yep. But you know what? They're not going to. I think Jerry, and this is the issue, this is going to be the new NFL. I believe what we're watching is the new NFL. Shedeur Sanders will be in the league next year. Or, I'm sorry, this year. Shedeur Sanders has a very successful podcast. Now, I've listened to Shedeur Sanders. I've listened to his podcast. Now, one of the things that I think Shedeur Sanders does extremely well, and we'll see what he does when he gets to the pros, but it's like you can tell. Deion talks to Shedeur. Deion talks to Shedeur. Now, Deion does not mind all the flamboyancy as long as you win. I tell folk all the time about Deion. That's why I love Deion. Deion believes the flamboyancy comes with the winning, not with the ability only. No, it comes with the winning. You win big, you are big. You win big, you play big, you win big, you are big, and you can party hard as you want to. Just make sure you get back to work. Why? Because the work is the reason why you got everything. Deion understands this. Listen to Shedeur Sanders' podcast. Go listen to it. He doesn't say a lot of things about his team like that. He's very calculated. If he's talking about his team, he's very calculated. Very encouraging. You know, maybe he'll let him explain some things. He's very smart when it comes to how he does that podcast dealing with the team. He's very smart. So I like the way Shedeur. I can appreciate the way he does it. Micah Parsons just needs to be told, and I've said this before. Somebody needs to tell him, man, if you're gonna do that podcast, don't mention anything about this team. Nothing. And if you do mention, don't mention anything that puts somebody on this team in a bad light. Don't put nobody on this team in a bad light. Don't be saying things that other men have to answer for. Anything you say, let it be about you. Let it be about general things, and stay away from all the comparing and all. I mean, that stuff, that kind of stuff right there. He's just got to be more intelligent. Somebody needs to sit down and talk about emotional intelligence. They got to tell him how to do it. Because I think this is the new NFL. Now, for me, if I was the owner, I would tell my players, hey, you can have a podcast, but you can't do that during the season. That's just me. You can't do this during the season. No, bro. We're creating a different culture here. No podcast during the season. All football. All football. I'm sorry. I mean, we're not talking about a player who's only making $250,000 a year. Micah Parsons now is about to make $24 million this season. Sorry, I don't think Micah Parsons necessarily needs a part-time job. Now, make all the money you can. This is America. I have no problem with that. But when you're talking about playing football, can you not either do it during the football season, or if you do it, okay, if you're going to do it on your off day, that's fine. Nothing about the team. Nothing that brings the team into a negative light. Nothing that brings the coaches into a negative light. None of that stuff. I'm telling you, man, when you do these types of things, I mean, you really have to understand. You take any of us. I don't know what professions we have, but we're content creators. You take me, what I do. So how would it look for me? And I am not ashamed of my profession. You take me, for example. Okay, I'm a preacher. So how would it look for me to be on here cursing folk out? I'm on here cursing folk out, using the Lord's name in vain, threatening to fight people. I mean, I'm doing all kinds of stuff on a podcast, and then I'm a preacher, and then I'm going to church on Sunday, and I'm trying to preach to people about living their life for the Lord. What does that look like? What's that look like for people who know what I do? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do anything that's going to take away from God. And I'm not going to do anything that's going to take away from what I do. I'm not going to put this before everything. Now, there could be a day where this becomes so big that I say this is the only thing I'm going to do later on in life. I mean, I doubt it, but it could. I'm not saying it's not going to get big, but I like bringing people to Christ. But the one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to try to say and do things that's going to bring shame to God, bring shame to the church. And even as it applies to other people, man, you know what? It's one thing to disagree, but the one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to talk bad or try to talk down on somebody. That's just not, I don't get down like that. I don't get down with that stuff. I even think that would be denigrating myself, denigrating even y'all, denigrating people. I'm not going to do that. So when it comes to Michael Parsons, it's the same difference. Football is what you do, bro. Football is what you do. Football is who Michael Parsons is. He's not any of those things. Bleacher Report don't want him if he's not playing for the Dallas Cowboys, and they don't want him if he's not playing well for the Cowboys. But let me give you number 3. They don't want him either if they don't know he's not going to do some of the things he's doing. You even got to be smart enough to know that. So in what he's doing, you got to be, and I hope Brian Schottenheimer goes to him man to man. Hey guys, okay, you do the top, you do this. If you're doing it on your off day, that's fine. Just ask you don't dedicate a lot of time to it, because we're going to be doing some things that we're going to really need you to get behind and learn. Number 2, don't say anything that could be misconstrued about any of the players. Just don't even do that. Man, stay away from the comparisons. Stay away from the list. Stay away from all of that stuff. You want to talk general football, talk general football. But all that other stuff, stay away from it. Somebody's got to be able to sometimes talk, and you got to be willing to listen. Michael Wright, he said, great looking show. Michael Wright, I'm telling you something. You haven't seen anything yet. Man, we got this studio. I'm in another room right now, but man, we got this studio back here, man. We're going to be doing some things. We're going to be doing some things in the future. We're trying to make this, you'll see what I'm talking about. We're going to try to make this into something that's going to be unbelievable. Marcus Rowe, the best thing about Schottenheimer is his wanting to build a relationship. Man, did you notice all of them talked about that? They talked about people. They talked about people. They talk about relationships. That's a big part too. Man, you need to have relationships with the people that you work with. This is why, for me, I wish that Micah, CeeDee Lamb, and Dak were all aligned. Because it seems to be obvious they're not aligned. They're not aligned. I wish they were all aligned, because I think they could really do a lot of stuff. Michael L., still short on talent and will be losing more. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Let me go down a little bit further, and then let me get back to this right here. Let me give Keedy Boy a couple of comments in here. Keedy Boy said Eberflus isn't revealing everything. Exactly. I think Mike is going to be playing linebacker. Me too, Keedy Boy. I do too. I think that's exactly what's going on. I think he's going to be playing linebacker, blitzing from the linebacker position, or hey, linebacker, last minute, I move up to the line. Because you know what? If I was talking to Michael Parsons, because make no mistake about it, I criticize Michael Parsons for some of the things he's saying. I don't think, contrary to what other people think. I mean, we talk about a lot of these stats with Michael Parsons. I like him, but I'm not impressed. And the reason why I say I'm not impressed is not that I'm not saying it's not good. I just don't think people understand how good this kid can actually be. If Michael Parsons gets his mind right and stop thinking what people are telling him and start learning, listening to guys who have done it on just the biggest stages, he'll be elite. Michael Parsons can be absolutely elite. At linebacker especially, he can be absolutely elite. I mean, I'm telling you, this dude can finish somewhere in the top 10 if he will, I believe he'll let someone put him in the position that he can flourish in. Because I know he thinks he can flourish at defensive end. I think he'd be lethal at linebacker. I mean, we've seen his speed. Speed, power, all those things. This dude can be different. Mike is going to be playing linebacker. He's going to be blitzing, dropping in coverage. I think so too. Pass rushing, spine, helping stop the run. Man, I'm telling you, they put this dude at linebacker. I think a whole lot of things are going to change on this team. I do. I think they're going to change. C-Bay said, you didn't sit Michael up or shut him down. He speaks like Jerry. Yeah, he does. He says if you don't shut Michael up or shut him down, he speaks like Jerry. He does. He's due a contract. He's going to say anything or everything aligning to Jerry. Man, that's crazy to me. Michael's taking an approach, C-Bay said, no one's taking. I mean, he's taking an approach that nobody's taking. I mean, he is literally saying everything he's got to say. Gregory from Texas, what's going on with you? True Cowboy in the crib, what's going on? Yes, sir. I'm just trying to say what I see, man. Now, let's see. Kevin Howard, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Gregory McKnight, what's going on? No, you're not listening. You ain't been here long enough. We're not actually even criticizing Micah Parsons. We're talking about what can make him better. And what I think that if you listen to Matt Eberflus, I think Matt Eberflus is telling us they're about to do some things with Micah Parsons. Let me see. Let me make sure if I was done with the statement. Let's see.
Matt, did you do any after action from your time in Chicago?
Okay. Now, I'm going to let you hear Matt Eberflus's philosophy. And then I'm going to let you hear, because somebody is going to bring up Micah Parsons again. And then we're going to go even further on what we're saying about Micah Parsons.
And really what they can be.
So they're going to ask him what his philosophy is. Let's see.
And that's what excites me the most.
What concept or philosophy would you say is like the hallmark of the defensive philosophy that you have?
Yeah, pretty simple. We take the ball away. That's what we do. We stop the run, and we want to make exciting plays for our football team, and that's really what we do.
Now, I like this philosophy. I mean, it's a simple philosophy. I mean, stop the run. I notice he's saying this because that's been a problem around here. That's been a problem. So he's saying they're going to be dedicated to stopping the run. But the second thing he said is they're going to take the ball away, which we've seen that before too. We've seen the ball get taken. We've seen the ball get taken away too here. I don't think that's good enough. We've been here and done this part. So the question is how is he going to do it? So let's see here. So right here, this is the next question I want you to hear, because this is what got Osa Odigizua. This is what got Osa Odigizua price up in the air now, is because everybody wants to copy the Philadelphia Eagles. Folk need to understand something. I'm going to let Matt Eberflus say it first, because I've been saying some of this stuff. I'm going to let Matt Eberflus explain it to you, and then I'm going to come back and say what I've been saying.
Matt, Newey Scruggs from NBC5. Looking at what Philadelphia did in the Super Bowl, they were able to get up there with their 4. How do you get your defensive line to that kind of championship level where you can win the division again?
Yeah, that's really about getting the depth there that we need. I know that we've had some free agents leave us over the last couple years, but they're really some good pieces that are there. To work from. So it's exciting to be able to look at that in the future in terms of draft and acquiring other players that are at special talent guys.
So let's stop right here. Folk need to understand this. You can't do what Philadelphia did unless you get the talent to do it. You can't do what Philadelphia did unless you get the talent to do it. You can't. As much as we love Micah Parsons as a pass rusher, he's not enough. Micah Parsons is not enough. Micah Parsons Osa Odigizua are not enough. Now, notice what Matt Eberflus said. This is going to make some people probably feel uncomfortable. I like Osa Odigizua. I want the Cowboys to keep Osa Odigizua, but not at the price that people are talking about for Osa Odigizua. I don't care how much money they added to the salary cap. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm not paying $20+ million for Osa Odigizua. Now, it's Dallas's fault. They should have signed him last year. You could have got him for what he's actually probably worth in the eyes of many. I would have maybe even signed him the year before. You really could have got him exactly where you want him as far as the price. But you waited. And then this thing happened with Philadelphia. And now defensive tackles are going to be at a premium. Man, defensive tackles, because Philly won a Super Bowl, it's a copycat league. Philadelphia won a Super Bowl. It may change the whole draft. It may change the whole draft. You may see people who you thought were getting skill positions. They might just say, we're getting defensive tackles. Matt Eberflus is saying something. Let's pump the brakes. Let's pump the brakes on talking about our defensive line is going to be like Philly's. Unless. Did you notice what he said? Depth and talent. Depth and talent. Philly didn't have one guy that could get pressure. Two guys that could get pressure. They had four guys that got pressure. Four. They had four guys that got pressure. Four. When you get four guys that can get pressure, that's crazy work. That is crazy work. And Philly kind of lucked up and got that, what they got now. So kind of the way they constructed it. You need depth and talent to do that. Mozzie, Osa, Micah, can't remember on the other end. It's not enough. It's not enough. So they're telling us something. So they're going to go in the draft. They're going to have to go in free agency, not just the draft. They're going to have to go in free agency in the draft if they want a defensive line like Philly. And I just don't know if they're going to get that defensive line in 2025. Maybe they complete it in 2026. But if you want that defensive line in 2025, Osa Odigizua is not the answer. Osa is not the answer. You're going to have to go in free agency. You have got to go in free agency. And you either need to get another defensive end on the other side. I'm going to tell y'all something about Mozzie Smith. I think Mozzie Smith is going to be fine this year. I think Mozzie is going to be better than what we've seen. We saw flashes with Zimmer. He's going to be better. I would go in free agency. I would get me a couple of doggone defensive tackles. I would see if I could get the best defensive tackle available, or maybe the second best or third best, put him in, and then I'm going to go in the draft. And I'm going to get me a defensive tackle. The Cowboys are drafting at 12. They can get a good defensive tackle. Now, they got Osa Odigizua, if I'm not mistaken. They got him in the third. Okay, well, why don't you? Now, I don't want the Cowboys to go get no doggone defensive tackle in the first round. If Ashton Jeanty is there, you get Ashton Jeanty. If Ashton Jeanty isn't there, I say you trade back and see if you can still get you a good defensive tackle and get you a running and get, I'm telling you, I know everybody is drunk off Jeanty. I like Jeanty, but I'm not drunk off Jeanty. Man, I'll take a Marion Hampton and won't even blink. I won't even blink with a Marion Hampton. I won't blink. If this coaching staff is going to do what they're saying they're going to do, man, we'll be great with Omarion Hampton. We won't just be fine. We'll be great with Omarion Hampton. There are about 6 other running backs in this draft that I think the Cowboys cannot miss on. At least 6. Some of y'all probably, I guarantee you, some of y'all could point out 12. This draft, if the Cowboys want a running back, even if Jeanty is not there, they cannot lose a running back unless they want to. Man, I'm telling you, I'll go in free agency. I'll get me doggone Nick Chubb and then go in and get a Marion Hampton. Man, I'll be a force. I'll be a force. I'll be a force to reckon with. I will. Gary McKnight, he said every time that Parsons in coverage, meaning he's not doing what he does best, he rushed the passer. Yeah, but sometimes what they're doing, though, we got to be smart, Gary, because they're running at Micah Parsons. You mess around and get Micah Parsons on one of those downs where you think it's a passing down, and then they run at him because he's undersized. And because they're running at him, then they get the first down anyway. No, they're going to have to be strategic in how they use Micah Parsons. That's what they're going to have to do. You just got to be strategic in how to use him. You don't have to drop him back to pass every single time. Kitty Boy said team depth at key positions hurt us. It did. 100%. Miss Matrix, did Eberflus just hit free agency? Exactly. Exactly, Miss Matrix. He's telling us what they're going to do. He's telling us. He is telling the fan base, and he's telling the front office, pump the brakes. I know everybody want the Philly defensive line. And let's not just give the defensive line for Philly credit. That doggone Rams defensive line, shoo, almost did Philadelphia in. That line for the Rams almost did Jalen Hurts in. See, quarterback pressures are great. But what I want to know is what are the results? And there are 3 teams that were in the playoffs. We not only saw the pressure, we saw the results. When the Houston Texans went up against the Los Angeles Chargers, what did we see? We saw pressure, we saw sacks, we saw knockdowns, we saw errors, we saw interceptions, we saw the whole gamut. When you get pressure from 3 to 4 guys, that's what you get. We saw what the Rams did to the Philadelphia Eagles. They did it all. They got sacks, turnovers, mistakes. We got it all when they played Philadelphia. Only problem is they wound up letting Saquon Barkley get loose. But we saw it in the Super Bowl. We didn't just see pressure. We saw the result of pressure. And that's what we have to be looking at. What is the result of the pressure? Is it leading to the quarterback getting nervous feet, running out of the pocket, leading the sacks because now he can't get away? There's nowhere to run. Leading to errors because if he does find a way to run, we're still pursuing him so hard. He's going to have to make throws on the run and they better be accurate. Are we looking at them resulting into interceptions? Are we looking at the pressure resulting into strip, sack, fumbles, going to the crib? Are we looking at that? Because if we're looking at pressure and no sacks, no interceptions, no strip sack fumbles, no tackles. Well, it looks good on Pro Football Focus, but it's not going to look good on the scoreboard. When you get the kind of pressure that the Houston Texans got, we saw 3 interceptions. The Rams against the Lions. I think it was Lions, right? What we see. 4 turnovers by Jared Goff. We saw against the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles. What did we see? Turnovers with Patrick Mahomes. Pick 6, Patrick Mahomes. We saw what that does. But if you're getting pressure and Joe Burrow is running away from Micah Parsons like we saw during the season, throwing dots and dimes down the field to Jamar Chase, doggone it, we got pressure, but we didn't quite get there. No, we got to get the combination. We got to get the results of the pressure. What is the pressure resulting in? This is one of the grades they had on Oso Digizua. Oso Digizua was 3rd in the league in quarterback pressures, equating to, I think it was 7 sacks. So you're getting all that pressure, 7 sacks. And then even worse, even if we're leading in quarterback pressure, we still got another problem. It's not equating into wins. It's not even equating into us holding teams to not scoring. It's not equating. But when you can truly get the kind of quarterback pressure that gets the results, it shows on the scoreboard. We know this because some of the greatest defenses in NFL history. Go look at how many points teams scored on those teams. Score a lot of points on those teams. They're not just chasing the quarterback, they're chasing them down. They're sacking him, they're tackling him, they're hitting him. They're strip sack, fumbling. I mean, they're doing the whole gamut on him. Eberflus is saying something that people need to pay attention to. Hold on, pump your brakes before everybody says we're going to be like Philadelphia. Do you not understand what that requires? It not only requires 4 down linemen who are just downright absolutely down and dirty, you're going to need some guys behind them. You're going to need some depth, some type of rotation. He just hinted at free agency. He's saying, and the only way we're going to do that, we got some pieces. We got some pieces. Did you hear what he just said? We don't have all the pieces, though. We don't have everything that we need. So he's already putting the onus on Jerry and Steven. We don't have everything we need. We don't have it. So unless they get it for us, pump y'all brakes. I know everybody, Philadelphia. Okay, great, Philadelphia, but everybody ain't Philadelphia. Everybody's not Howard Roseman. What we're watching with the Philadelphia Eagles is not something they did overnight. It's something that they've done over the last 3 seasons. These guys have been spending money. They've been spending money. They've been doing it creatively. And it's not that we can't do it, because I'm telling you, I don't think it's not the fact that we can't do it. The issue for the Cowboys now is, are they willing to do it? And until they show me something different, I'm thinking probably different than everybody else. I think until they show me something different, I'm going to believe what they said. They're going to do something different in free agency. I'm going to believe it. I am. I'm going to believe it. Yep. Eberflus just hinted at free agency activity, and he's going to do it again. They're giving us some hints, so we got to see. Gary said, I wouldn't sign Osa for 20. I'm not doing it. Philly drafted George, says Tony. Man, I'm telling you, Philly got some more bullets in the chamber too. We're going to get ready for Philly, which I'm fully confident if we can get Dak Prescott healthy, we'll be great. C-Base said Garrison Buckner out there. C-Base, there are some players available. Gary McKnight, yes, we need another defensive end. And I'm telling y'all, this is not going to be popular. But if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I'm just being honest. I'm not drunk off Genty. I'm not telling y'all Genty not good. I'm not telling you he's not special. I'm not drunk off Genty. If me and Cleveland can work out a deal to where I can get Myles Garrett opposite. I can get Myles Garrett opposite of Micah Parsons, or I can get Myles Garrett to now be my pass rushing defensive end and then allow Micah Parsons to line up at linebacker and be my linebacker pass rusher. Oh, I'm in business. Man, I'll act a fool. Man, I'll get you in 3rd and long. I'll put Myles Garrett on one side, and then I'll bring down Micah Parsons on the other side. Man, I'll act a fool. If I'm the Cowboys, if I can make that happen, I would. Simply because, what's the drop-off from Ashton Genty to Amarion Hampton? What's the drop-off? Now, some of y'all watch college football way more than I do. Y'all tell me what the drop-off is. Y'all tell me. What's the drop-off? Priority is running back. Yep, this draft is deep in running back. And that's why, for me, I'm not drunk off Genty. If I can get Myles Garrett and get Omarion Hampton or one of the kids from Ohio State, I mean, man, there are so many running backs. There is no way the Cowboys can't get one that will be great on this team. D-Rail Carter, what's going on? Lonnie Cabal, what's going on? I like Ted at 12 if Genty isn't there. Man, let me tell you something. Lonnie, man, let me tell you, man, I went back and looked at some tape, man. I'm gonna mention him later. I got another. Hey, man, I already mentioned this dude before. Y'all already heard me mention him. But, man, I'm telling you, ooh, this dude here. Sam Williams will bring it to the team this year. Hey, man, if Sam Williams is healthy, Sam Williams would be great. Only issue is, can he stay healthy? That's the only question. I think he'll be fine. Sacks in the way Philly runs their defense is not a major thing for them. Their big thing is their line is stopping the run. That too. And forcing the quarterback to try and beat them with his arm. That too. And again, Chanel, we're seeing the results. We're seeing all of it. We're not just seeing sacks. We're seeing them beat the quarterback up. We're seeing them make him make mistakes. The Philadelphia Eagles defense made Patrick Mahomes make mistakes. They made him make mistakes. After they sacked this man so many times, I'm telling you, Patrick Mahomes was seeing ghosts. He didn't know what to do. It's one of the rare times you'll ever see Patrick Mahomes to where he just couldn't get away. He couldn't get away. If they didn't sack him, they knocked him down. If they didn't knock him down, they chased him to the point of there was no breath to take for him. They gave this man the business. I bet you this man was black and blue the next day. They gave him the business. They did. Kevin Howard, I'm taking the wide receiver from Arizona and get me the running back from North Carolina. That's Omarion Hampton. And then in Arizona's McMillan. But hold on, Kevin Howard. I'm going to show you something here in just a minute. You just hold on a second. I'm going to show you something here in a minute. Gary, I hope they're active in free agency. Gary, it's the only way they're going to do it. There's no other way. Gary, there's no other way. If the Cowboys don't play in free agency, y'all get ready. We're going to be scratching maybe a 9-win season, trying to claw our way in at 10. Maybe even 8, trying to claw our way in with a 9-win season. They don't have no choice. If the Cowboys don't play in free agency, it is an absolute wrap. They're going to have to. Not to mention we have 25 free agents. They have no choice. They're not re-signing all 25 of them. Philly defensive line plays for pressure. With pressure, the sacks will come. The takeaways will come. With pressure, it tends to bring mistakes. And keep in mind, Chanel, think about what Eberflus said. Not pressure from one. He's going to mention this. Not pressure from one. Not pressure from two. You need pressure from multiple people. And the reason why I know this, Chanel, is because if you ask folk, who was the team that had the most sacks the second half of the season and the most quarterback pressures? So explain to me, if we say this about the Cowboys, why does it not look the same way it looked for the Houston Texans? Why did it not look the same way it looked for the Rams? Why did it not look the same way it looked for the Eagles? Why did it not look the same? Because of the way we're getting the pressure. It's the way we're getting the pressure. Go back and look at what Mike Zimmer did. Mike Zimmer disguised his looks. Mike Zimmer made it look like he was rushing 4 and he rushed 5. He made it look like he was rushing 4, he rushed 6. He disguised the way he was doing, the way he was coming at the quarterback. But when you talk about Philly, the Rams, Houston, they look different. It's different. The pressure is different. It's not fool's gold pressure, because you want to know why the Cowboys were getting beat on some of those pass plays? Because when you got to bring more, you got to disguise the look, you got to bring more to get the pressure, you got to give up more on the back end. Now you got to give up more. That's why then you can get a quarterback like Joe Shiesty Burrow. Well, he'll just escape the one guy that's after him. Okay, you got Mike and Mozzie chasing. Okay, you chase me if you want to. But I'm about to dot you with a dime to Jamar Chase. I'm going to dot you with a dime to T. Higgins. I'm going to hit receivers because I'll eat 1 or 2. What he can't eat is 3 or 4. Our pressure looks different than the teams I'm explaining. They can rush 4 and drop 7. That's the ideal way. You know how I know? Because the Green Bay Packers beat the brakes off of us with it in 2023 in the playoffs. You rush 4, drop 7. When you can do that, man, you can do a lot of things to teams. You can do so many things because now the pressure is even turned up even more. Because if I drop 7, where are you going to throw the ball? Where do you throw the ball if I drop 7? Not only do I got pressure on you at 4, where are you going to throw the ball? I told y'all a few weeks ago, this is the defense that you beat Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Shiesty. You beat them. You beat them with those defenses because you try to take away, you take away their ability to just drop back, read defenses, and pick you apart. No, you're not dropping back. You're going to go 1 potato, 2 potato, and if that ball ain't out, you better get your butt running somewhere. And if you can't run, you're on the ground. You're on the ground. And go back. I challenge you. Go back and look at Philly. Go back and look at them. They're not just getting pressure. They're getting sacks. They're getting interceptions. They're getting strip sack fumbles. Remember what they did to us the first game? Man, they was out there clowning Cooper Rush. That defense was clowning Cooper Rush. That defense different. And Matt Eberflus is telling us, pump your brakes. You don't get what Philly is doing by schemes. We tried it. It didn't work for us. I'm telling us this is why we were getting murdered on the back end. We were literally getting murdered because to do that, somebody's going to have to be single covered. But when you can drop 4, now you get to do something you really want to do. Hey, let's 7. Let's drop 7. Now we can play zone. And then if we get a team like Dallas and they got 1 wide receiver, hey, we can play zone, and then we're going to make sure we're going to bracket underneath and over the top. You can afford to double a wide receiver, especially on a team like the Cowboys. We can double 1 wide receiver, and then we can still handle up on the rest. Why? Because we can still just rush 4. Understand, I know we love to talk about this thing with pressure. It's fool's gold. Because nobody got more pressure than us, at least according to what people say in the second half of the season. So tell me then, why were we not winning down the second half of the season? We were still giving up buku points. Buku points. Look at what Philly did. Look at what Philly did in them last 2, the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. Look at the points. No chance. No, absolutely no chance. Kitty Boy, he said, I hope the Cowboys get defensive tackle Poona Ford in free agency and draft Norman Ford from Tennessee and draft another space eater defensive tackle in the later rounds to go with Mozzie. We could have something special on defense. I agree. There are options in this draft. I mean, I know we would want to get one of the top 3. I mean, I think the guy everybody's talking about is the kid from Michigan. But I think there are other options, just like Genty. I'm not drunk on Genty. I think the Cowboys got options. I'm not drunk on Genty. I think they'll still be fine if they don't get Genty. Jerry said, I'm here. People in here have been hating on Dak. No, it had been a Dak conversation tonight. We talking about Gary McKnight. Pressure is big and affecting the play. It is. It is. I'm not disagreeing with you. This is the part that people don't understand. I'm not disagreeing with you. But where I'm pushing back is pressure alone is not enough. Because the good and great quarterbacks, they eat pressure. The pressure has to have some results. I need to be knocking the quarterback down, knocking him around. I need to be sacking him because nothing is worse once you start getting your hands on him. Once you start sacking him and then once you start sacking him, then all of a sudden his feet get to dancing a little bit more. And then when his feet get to dance a little bit more, and then you can drop 7. Remember, it's not all the same. And Matt Eberflus is saying as much. It's not the same. It's not the same when you're bringing pressure with 5 and 6 like it is when you're bringing pressure with 4. You cannot do what Philly did unless you can bring pressure with 4. That's it. There's no other way you do this. This is why everyone now is talking about defensive tackles. If you can't do it with 4, you're vulnerable. You're vulnerable. If you got to do 5 or 6, okay. You may get me here. You may get me there. But guess what I'm going to do to you? I'm going to go on that sideline. We're going to look at what you're doing. We're going to leave a back in the backfield. Maybe we'll bring a tight end back there. Maybe we'll send a tight end in motion. Maybe let him get a chip, whatever we need to do. We'll do those things if you're trying to drop. I mean, if you're bringing 5 and 6, because guess what we know? We're going to get you somewhere. Somewhere, somebody's going to be running wide open. Somebody's going to be running wide open. Number 2, I also know how to nullify that. If you are one of these people that want to rush 5 and 6, I also know how to get you. I'll either run screen plays and what everyone's going to have to do, because Philly has actually put the NFC on notice and the league. You know how you stop a team from rushing 4? Well, you get you a doggone line. That's what you do. You get you an offensive line. And what you do to those teams who try to get all of this quote unquote pressure, you know how you soften up that pressure? You run the ball. You run the ball. You know how I know? Because Kansas City also showed us, Philly also showed us something else, whether we accept it or not. They kept running the ball, 27 for 57. What do you think that does? If you're going to run the ball, even if you're not dominating the game with the run game, do you know what that does? Now I got to make you think. If you're going to just try to go for the quarterback, now I'm going to make you think even more. Oh, hold on a second. They may run the ball. So now I got to stop the run and then worry about getting to the passer. If you can do that, guess what you get to do? Now you get to do what the Philadelphia Eagles did to Kansas City. No, we're going to make you come out of any defense that you're trying to run. We're going to make you come out of it. What the Cowboys are going to have to focus on doing to Philly and any other team that want a chance of beating Philly, rushing 4. You know what you do? You bring them out of it. Oh, you're going to rush 4? Guess what? Well, we're going to run the ball. And we're going to run it, and we're going to run it, and we're going to run it. And we're going to make you bring those linebackers down. We're going to make you not just pin your ears back and go for the quarterback. We're going to make you bring those linebackers down and say, hey, man, we got to stop the run. These guys can run the ball. And then when we get you saying we got to stop the run because we can run the ball, guess what we're going to do to you next? Now we're going to hit you with play action, because now we've brought you out of that shell coverage. We've already brought you out of rushing 4. Now we're going to bring you out of that shell coverage. Somebody is going to be open. Now, there's a method to all of this. The problem is, Matt Eberflus is explaining something to us that we need to pay attention to. You got to have the players to do this stuff. You have to have the players to do it. If you don't have the players to do it, then you can't do it. And Mike Zimmer proved that we couldn't do it because he couldn't do it with 4. He couldn't do it. Matt Eberflus is going to talk about this. We got pieces. You're right. You're right. It's funny to me because people talk about this stuff like it's easy. You don't just wake up one day and say, hey, man, I know how we're going to start winning. We're going to start putting pressure on the quarterback. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not going to wake up and say we're putting pressure. I laugh when we talk about pressure. I'm not talking that it's not important, but I'm telling us the facts about pressure. You can tell me about pressure all day long. I'll show you the Cincinnati Bengal game. This dude, Joe Shiesty, was running for his life, but what did he do? He killed us. He killed us. Joe Burrow was running away from Micah Parsons. I never thought, I just didn't know Joe Burrow had any kind of wheels on him. He was running away from us. And he was diming us with Jamar Chase, killing us, and caught us on the back end. Deron Bland one-on-one caught us. You don't get to wake up one day and say, hey, man, quarterback pressure. No, you don't. Matt Eberflus is telling us this. You need depth. You need players. And did you hear what he said? He didn't just say players. He didn't say Jags, just a guy. He said, you need special talent. Let me let you hear him say it. I'm going to let you hear him say it again.
Where you can win the division again.
Yeah, that's really about getting the depth there that we need.
The depth that you need.
I know that we've had some free agents leave us over the last couple years.
He's talking about 2023 when we let all those players go.
But they're really some good pieces that are there.
We got pieces. Do we hear what he's saying? He understands something. We got to stop. We're not waking up tomorrow, y'all, saying we got pressure. Yeah, pressure is great, but you got to have players to get pressure.
To work from. So it's exciting to be able to look at that in the future in terms of draft and acquiring other players that are at special talent guys.
Did we hear what he just said? Look to in the future, the draft, special talent. Special talent. I know we keep talking about pressure. Yes, it works. But what does it require to work the way Philly is doing it? Because that's the question that he asked him. How do you do it the way Philly is doing it? Well, if you're going to do it the way Philly is doing it, we don't have it. We don't have it. And we haven't had it. That's the part we don't understand. We haven't had it. Micah Parsons, I can remember the game. Micah Parsons was complaining in the locker room after the Saints game. What did Micah Parsons say? I can't be the only one making plays. What is he saying? We don't have the players. We don't have the players. That's not coaching. We don't have the players. Mike Zimmer did an awesome job. Mike Zimmer had to make adjustments just to get us some pressure. Go back and look at what Mike Zimmer did. He didn't do it the way Philly did it. They're asking him, how do you do it the way Philly did it? Because this is the way everybody wants to do it, the way Philly did it. How did Philly do it? Rush 4, drop 7. And people may not realize it. Green Bay did it to us in 2023 and then rolled up to San Francisco and almost knocked off San Francisco doing the same thing, rushing 4, drop 7. When you can do that, you can beat teams. You can absolutely beat them. You can. You can beat them because you're not just getting pressure. That's the part I keep emphasizing. You're not just getting pressure. Pro Football Focus said it. I love when we get an analytic or a stat we don't like, we throw it in the trash. But Pro Football Focus said it, and it makes perfect sense. Osa Odighizuwa's pressures are not equating into productivity. They're not equating. What do you mean, Pro Football Focus? Because he's not getting the type of things you think he would be getting from the pressure. He's not getting those things. And when you got a defensive line that not only gets pressure, you mentioned it, they're not only going to get pressure, they can stop the run. We don't have that. What's been our Achilles heel? It was the very thing that Clarence Hill asked. He said a bugaboo around here has been stopping the run. And he said, what's a bugaboo? And I may be getting ahead of myself. It may be the next question. But he says it. I'm just telling us, we be saying things sometimes, and I know what we're saying, and I'm not arguing against what we're saying. I'm trying to give us the logistics of what we're saying. Because the logistics of what we're saying, it's not on this team. We don't have it. And I'll be honest with you, we haven't had it. We have not had it because if we had it, I promise you, in those 3 12-win seasons, there's no way we only have one playoff win. There's just no way. Chad said Ted had a high chance of being there. They're saying that. And I think why they're saying that is because this whole run with these defensive lines and stuff. But I'm going to show you somebody else here in a moment. Louis Ortiz, what's up, fam? Good to see you. Jared said, I disagree, G. We got to get Genty. We need a generational running back, not just a good one. I don't know. I'll tell you this, Jared. I don't throw around generational. I don't know if he's going to be generational. But I say this. The season is not over if you don't get Ashton Genty. The season is just not over. Omarion Hampton is going to be, I don't even know. You never know. He could turn out to be a generational back. I mean, we don't know yet. Poona and Myles Garrett would definitely solidify our defense, just their presence and experience. Yeah, they're going to have some options in free agency. And I think that's where they need to go. Also, Diggy is too expensive. Chanel, the 6 best college running backs, Ashton Genty, Omarion Hampton, I'll take him. Caleb Johnson, Quinshawn Judkins, I'll take him. Ohio State, Travion Henderson, I'll take him. OSU, Dylan Sampson, yeah. It's there. It is there for the taking, Chanel. You hit it right on the head. It's there for the taking if the Cowboys want it. What's going on, Andrew Nichols? Yes, sir. What's up, G? Love this direction, man. I'm telling you. I love what Eberflus is saying. True Cowboy, we have to get the right players in place so we can be violent on both sides of the football. That's the key. And Matt Eberflus just told us we don't have it. I mean, anything anybody tells me about the Cowboys as far as what they've done is fool's gold. It's not equating. Then again, it's not equating into what it's supposed to be equating into. And I mean, you think about the Green Bay game. What, we went in there with no linebackers? No, you're not beating nobody like that. You got to have the defense complete to do some of these things. She said, I know we on defense real quick. Will Shotty be calling plays? Yes. Jerry said Shotty wouldn't even be here if he's not calling plays. I want to get to the next coach. Let me just let you hear a couple of more things, and then we'll get to the next coach, Miss Matrix. We'll talk about some offense, because I thought what this guy said about offense was crazy. All right, we got a commercial here. So let me read a couple of more of these. Oh, hey, hold on. Here we go. Okay, so Clarence Hill is going to follow up again about this thing about defense. This is a big deal. Clarence Hill is going to say what I just said.
It's been a problem.
Okay. Brings to everybody every single day, so I'm excited about that.
You brought up stop and run. You know, it's been a bugaboo around here for a long time. How do you
Definition of bugaboo.
It's been a problem.
Okay.
They haven't been able to get it done. How do you get this team to finally stop the run? I mean,
so let me say this before Matt Eberflus says this. Let me tell you how I know what we've been doing, contrary to what some say, it's fool's gold. Because if it's about pressure, you have to be able to also stop the run, or the pressure don't even work then. You got to be able to stop the run. A team that has 4 down linemen rushing, and this is why I don't think I really don't think that Michael Parsons is going to play defensive. I don't think he's going to play edge on this team with Matt Eberflus. I could totally be wrong. But watch this. If you can't stop the run, none of this matters, because this is what we've been. When we can get teams in passing downs, even when we get them in passing downs, sometimes we fail. But when we can get teams in passing downs, okay, now we can rush the passer and get pressure. But the problem is some of these teams, sometimes we don't be able to get them in passing downs. And so then the pressure fails. Why? Because they're running all over us. See, what Philly did is different. That's why I'm saying people got to understand this is something different that we're looking at. They have 4 down linemen that can stop the run and get after the quarterback. It's a deadly combination. We've had teams where we could get after the quarterback, but we couldn't stop the run. This is what Clarence Hill is talking about. And even when Dan Quinn was here, when we was racking up we were getting sacks and turnovers. Well, we were not always getting those sacks, even just rushing 4. And we were built with Dan Quinn. One of the problems we had with Dan Quinn, we were built to play with a lead. The moment we didn't have the lead, we were in trouble. The moment we ran into a team that could stop the run, we were in trouble. Why? This is one of the things that Dan Quinn did with Mozzie Smith. He wanted a slimmer defensive tackle. He wants those guys that can get to the ball, run, get after run after the quarterback, all these different things. But then what messed him up. He couldn't stop the run. So the way I conquer a team that thinks they're going to just pin their ears back and get pressure on the quarterback, I know what to do to you. I just run on you. And then once I start running on you, then I start beating you in the ground and battering you, then what do you got left to rush the passer? What do you got left? And then I start disguising my passes, making them look like runs, and I'm hitting you with play action. And then now you got to react to the run, and then you got to try to come get me. I'm wearing you out. It's exactly what happened to the Cowboys against Green Bay. Fool's gold. Philly is built different. When you can rush 4, that's a different type of pressure. That's different. That's all I'm trying to say. That's different. All pressure, and I've been saying this, all pressure is not created the same. When you rush 4 and get pressure, it's different than when you have to rush 5. The skies you're looking, rush 6. It's different because if I rush 6, I'm leaving 5 out there. I'm leaving 5 in pass coverage. So that means I'm either going to be single high safety if they're running 4 out there. If they're running 3 out there, then okay, then what am I going to do? I'm going to either split those two. I'm going to play, I forgot the name of it. I'm going to have 2 safeties. So I'm gonna just let them play the field? No, I mean, and guess what I do if I let them play the field? Now somebody's gonna be open in the middle. What Philly did, everybody needs to start understanding. Let's stop trying, hey, yeah, we're gonna do what Philly did. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not gonna do what Philly did. Unless you go get the personnel. Unless you go get the personnel. And it's going to start with those front 4. Them front 4 better be devastating. And this is why, for me, I know, guys. I know we want Ashton Genty. But I'm just telling you. I mean, we can do this the long way or the short way. Now, if we do it the long way, understand it's going to take us a couple of seasons. But if we do it the short way, we're going to have to just say, I know we hate it. Yeah, too high safety. Thank you, Chanel. I know, and I think what they call it, cover 2. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know we don't like it, but if we want to do it the long way, we're going to have to take a couple of seasons to get this right, because that's even what Matt Eberflus is alluding to too. He's saying in the future, because you can't do it in one season. But if you want to do it the short way, you can do it and say, if the Cleveland Browns give you an opportunity to get Myles Garrett, you get Myles Garrett. You let Oso Digizua walk. You go in free agency, get one of these guys that some of you have been mentioning, and then you go in the draft and you say, and then I'm still going to get another defensive tackle. And now we ready to roll. Because now we got an outside rushing game. And we got Mozzie. And then we got whoever else we filled in at Oso Digizua plays. Plus, we got maybe a rotation player in there. And then we'll be cooking with grease. We'll be cooking with grease then. Make sure we get us, and I think we're in free agency. If it's me, I think the Cowboys need to go D-line, linebacker, cornerback, running back. We need to start preparing as if Trayvon Diggs ain't coming back. Trayvon Diggs got a serious injury going, y'all. I'm telling you. They're not talking about it. I mean, they're not saying a lot about it. But when you get this bone-on-bone stuff, man, and I'm going to tell y'all something, man. People aren't talking about the way the Cowboys did Trayvon Diggs' contract. Let me tell you something. I'm going to do a report on this pretty soon. Man, the Cowboys did something with Trayvon Diggs' contract that is very smart. Cowboys, if Trayvon Diggs is not right this year, Cowboys can just walk right away from Trayvon Diggs. Cowboys haven't pushed none of his money down the road, as far as my understanding is. They haven't pushed none of his money down the road. They haven't, all that void year stuff, they haven't done any of it. They got Trayvon Diggs' contract that if Trayvon Diggs is not right when he comes back next year, walk right away from him. Walk right away from him. The Cowboys need to start planning as if Trayvon Diggs is not going to be here. And then if he's here, it's a great problem to have. But let me let you hear some more what he says.
Yeah, it's really about fundamentals. It's about fundamentals, playing your technique, and obviously the better players you have, the better they are. So,
do you hear what he keeps saying? He keeps saying it. The better players you have. Matt Eberflus is not talking crazy. I love what he's saying. He's talking smart. Chanel, she said, cover 5 also known as 2 men. This is man-to-man coverage with 2 deep safeties, okay? Jair Alexander, free agent. Yeah, there's some players out there. There's some players, for sure. Defensive tackles take at least 2 years. That's what I keep hearing. To exfoliate and shine, it's rare. That's why I think Mozzie is going to be great this year. Get defensive tackles and free agents and fast defensive end to book in with Micah. That's why I think Mozzie is going to be better this year. I would go in free agency and get the other one. I'm just not paying Oso Digizua $20 million. But do you hear what he keeps saying? He keeps talking about the players because I'm just telling you he's doing something that's genius. If we don't get the players here, y'all just need to y'all need to pump your brakes. Because if we don't get the players, it's gonna be is what it is. We got pieces. We don't have what we need to do what y'all asking. They've asked them about the Philly defense. We need players. And we don't just need players. He said we need special talent. Now they're asking him about stopping the run. What does he keep saying? Players. You got to have players. You do. Cover 2. I love playing cover 2. Yes, that's what I thought. Cover 2. My dad thinks that the Cowboys are going to be aggressive this offseason. I do too, Daniel M. I do too. I think they're going to be aggressive. D-Law's an unrestricted free agent. No, he ain't coming back. And he don't want to come back. DeMarcus Lawrence, I'm just telling you, DeMarcus Lawrence don't want to be on this team no more. He don't want to be on this team no more. He just don't. And some are saying that they ought to talk DeMarcus Lawrence into staying. DeMarcus Lawrence is good to stop the run. He's good playing against the run. But I think if you're trying to achieve what they're trying to achieve, D-Law be fine. Let D-Law walk. Let him walk. Let him go get the bag somewhere else. I think the Cowboys got to continue to get young. Because in about 3 years, Mike Fisher saying 2 ain't no way. Ain't no way. Dak going to have to drop off a cliff. Ain't no way the Cowboys are letting go of Dak in 2 years. Yeah, you can get from under that contract in 2 years, but that thing is still going to be an insane cap hit, depending upon how they do the void years. Now, we'll see what they're going to do with Dak's contract in the next couple of weeks and how much money they knock down the road if they just do it all at once. Of course, we'll be paying Dak until probably 2032 if they knock it down and really lessen it. So maybe they could if they do it like that. Michael White, he said, why are you stealing my player strategy with Myles Garrett? Philly in trouble, man. I'm telling you, A+, Michael Wright. I'm telling you, man, if the Cowboys can do it, I'm sorry, but the Myles Garrett thing is, boy, I don't know if people understand. That to me is hard to pass up. It is. Daniel M says, how can the Cowboys be aggressive this season if all they do is go homegrown talent and go bargain bin shopping and win a Super Bowl? Then they want a Super Bowl when that won't happen. I want Nick Bolton from the Chiefs. We're about to see. I'll tell you this. We're about to see. CB, Greenlaw, I got him on my top 10 that the Cowboys should be after. Chanel, D-Law can bounce to the Commanders. I'm with you. And that's probably where he'll bounce. Michael Wright said he don't want Trayvon Diggs. Cowboys got his contract exactly where they want Trayvon Diggs. If Trayvon Diggs doesn't come back right this year, man, this is a nasty business. But they can walk right away from Trayvon Diggs with minimal hit. Dak will still be on this team in 4 years, trust me. I think so too. I don't think there's no way they're cutting Dak in 2 years. You don't sign that contract to cut Dak in 2 years. That's a massive cap hit. Quinn won't D-Law. He'll get him too, for sure. Dak last contract, it's it. I agree. Super Bowl or not. The only way it won't be his last contract, CB. He go have to be Dak go have to get the Cowboys a discount out of this world. Richard, Philly is wanting Myles, but Richard, this is what we got in our favor. Philly cannot offer Cleveland, because understand, this isn't about Myles Garrett, because it's not like he has a no trade clause, at least to my understanding. Cowboys getting The Cowboys getting Myles Garrett is more beneficial to the Cleveland Browns. Reason being, they get the 12th pick. So that means they will be almost in the top 10 with 2 picks. So the Cowboys, it's more attractive. The Eagles, I mean, what are you drafting for the next 2 seasons with the Eagles? If they would even give you 2 first-round picks, I mean, you're really getting 2 seconds. But with the Cowboys, you're going to get the 12th pick. You will get the 12th pick. And if I'm the Cowboys, they seem to always throw away a 4th-round draft pick, so the Cowboys will probably give them a 1st and a 4th. They don't seem to like 4th-round draft picks. They always figure out a way to trade back up and get the 4th-round draft pick. Trayvon Diggs will never be the same. I don't think so either. The type of injury he has is your grafting bones. I don't think he's going to come back either. Not the same. Would there ever be a scary combination of Parsons and Garrett? Man, Gary. Michael Parsons and Myles Garrett. And then you get Marion Overshown back in 2026 or late 2025. Whew. Man, a man could dream. A man could dream, Gary. Golly. Hey, Michael Wright, I said already, I want Chubb. I would love to have Chubb to go along with Genty, Amarion Hampton, or one of these other guys. I would. Richard, I said like you're not going to have him. Then if he's right, guess what? You good. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Woo. Daniel, he says, I named Will Hernandez, the guard from the Cardinals, as a target to go. You know what? People are tying him to the Cowboys already because of Clayton Adams. He been under Clayton Adams' concept, and he gave him high praise during the Super Bowl week. Yeah, everybody's starting to tie him to the Cowboys. I wouldn't be mad. Luis Ortiz, wasn't Dak a 4th-round draft pick? No doubt. No doubt.
It's important to have that too, but it's about guys being in the right spot and being where they're supposed to be, with the demeanor, that they need to have. So, we've had some good run defenses in the past here. When I was back with Marinelli, I know we had a.
So listen to what he's saying. The right guys with the right attitude. I'm just saying, right guys with the right attitude. Eberflus is dropping golden nuggets. He's dropping golden nuggets. He is. He's dropping golden nuggets in everything that he's saying.
A few years where we're really good, so we're excited about getting that back.
Is it more about the scheme, or is it about the type of personnel that you need?
It's both. It's always both. You can run the same scheme with really good players and it works really well, and run the same scheme with other guys and it's not as good. But this is a player's game, so the talent level does matter. But I do believe we can be where we're supposed to be and have really.
Now, didn't I say this to you guys a couple of weeks ago? Great players make average plays look good. Great players make simple plays look great. You need the X's and O's. Coaching matters, though. Coaching matters. Relationships, fundamentals, people knowing where they're supposed to be. And when they are good and great at what they do, man, all you need is simple plays. You don't need exotic stuff. Just give them simple stuff. And if they execute, it's all she wrote. It is. Louise said, yes, Chubb is one of the more powerful backs like Saquon and Henry. Man, I'm telling you, I would love to have this dude. Nick Chubb and Amarion Hampton with feed family. Boy, dang it, I'm telling you, man, that's the combination. That's the combination for me, Amarion Hampton. Amarion Hampton and Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb can still eat, y'all. I'm telling you. Nick Chubb can still eat. He can. Nick Chubb can still eat. All right, let me let you hear one more thing. Let me see here. Let me let you hear two more things, and then we're going to go on to Clayton Adams, because I just want to hear a couple of things from Clayton Adams. I'm pretty sure you've already heard some of it. But I want you to hear what he says about Mozzie Smith versus what he says about Oso Digizua. and I could be overreading this, but y'all tell me what you think. Listen to how he talks about Mozzie. Now, watch this. He's doing this, and he may not even be aware that he's doing it. Let's think about this. So, I don't think we have to question Micah Parsons, because for all intents and purposes, Matt Eberflus is talking like Micah Parsons is going to be here. I never believed all the trade talk. I mean, like I said, if you could get 3 first rounds, that's one thing. But short of some crazy Herschel Walker trade, you're not trading Micah Parsons. Matt Eberflus is talking about Micah Parsons in future tense, right? Listen how he talks about Mozzie Smith.
Something that's fun for me and our staff putting those game plans together. So I'm just excited about it.
Matt, in addition to the 2 corners that you mentioned and Mike, Stephen Jones last month said Mozzie Smith was someone that came up in your assessment of the defense. What are your plans for him to unlock his full potential?
Yeah, I'm excited about Mozzie. I liked him coming out. Real explosive athlete, big.
You notice? He's excited about Mozzie Smith.
Big body type that can move really well. So we're excited about bringing his games to the next level, and he can certainly do that.
Some coaches have kind of taken a little sabbatical.
Now, let's watch what he says about Oso Digizua.
Our scheme, and that's going to be a really fun challenge for him and I to get on the same page again, and we're already started that process.
We're going to finish with Clarence right here.
Where you are in the free agent process, and how much is retaining Osa key to what you guys want to do going forward?
Yeah, not going to comment about the free agents, but certainly Osa is the guy that we like a lot, and he's a really good player for us. And but we'll look at other guys too, and but we're in the middle of that process right now.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Did you catch what he did? I'm telling y'all about Oso Digizua. I notice people in the fan base do this sometimes too. I like Oso Digizua. I'm not in love with Oso Digizua. He's not Micah Parsons. He is not Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons, I still see Micah Parsons high ceiling. If they can get this part right, if they can get him right here, Micah Parsons is going to be one of the greatest to ever do it. He's going to be one of the greatest to ever do it. But my fear with Micah Parsons, people have told him he's so good, comparing him to people like Lawrence Taylor. I mean, man, I'm telling you, 2 things can be true. Somebody can be getting 12 and 13 sacks a season for 4 seasons in a row and still not look like Lawrence Taylor. And still not look like Lawrence Taylor. This dude was a force. He was an absolute force. Micah can be that. I believe Micah Parsons can be every bit of that. But there's got to be somebody that can get to him, so they can really show him, man, you're just scratching the surface, bro. Get totally focused on this. It's not that you can't do other things, but listen to us on these things and let us really show you how to get this thing focused. Man, let me tell you something about these guys in the 90s and 80s. Man, these guys, man, was partying, women, everything. But boy, when they hit the field, you'd have never knew it. You'd have absolutely never knew it. Guys was monsters on the field, doing crazy stuff off the field, because they were doing the football stuff. They stayed extremely focused on the football stuff. Michael Irvin, extremely focused on the football stuff. But I want to go for a second here to Clayton. I want to go to Clayton Adams. And then I want to talk a little bit more about some offense before we get out of here. Y'all hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't also. Let me show you something about this dude. When they first said they hired this dude, I was like, okay, good. I saw some of the stuff that he did. I saw some of the stats. Let me tell you what really got me about this dude. The way this dude looks. Man, this dude here, bro. The way this dude look is intense. And then the things he's saying, man, this dude here, man, this I'm going to tell y'all, man, this dude right here, this dude right here sounds like a future head coach. This dude sound crazy, man. Look at this.
For this first time, let him know who you are and what platform.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's it. I'm Clayton Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com.
Nice to meet you.
Same here. Can you just talk about your decision to come join the Cowboys and, you know, what you take away from your time with the Cardinals that you can use to kind of benefit your time here?
Sure. Obviously, you know, for myself and being a background of an offensive line coach, the opportunity to be a coordinator and to sit in that chair was important to me and had been a goal, something that I wanted to do at some point. Obviously, I think being able to do it with the Dallas Cowboys is a huge, even bigger opportunity. You know, great franchise. Speaking on, you know, kind of what I've learned in my time in Arizona, we really had a great experience there. And the organization was outstanding to me and my family, the head coach, the players. I mean, well, I didn't get to be there when they got the thing completely turned, but I was excited about the direction that we were going, and I know that those guys will do a good job there.
Joe Hoyt, All City Dallas, and Arizona, you had James Conner, some linemen coming back here. There's a lot of questions about the running back room. There's a lot of openness. You know, we got a couple guys coming back. How much do you look at that as an opportunity in the run game to kind of find guys to maybe tailor fit what you're looking
Man, look at the way this dude looks.
for?
You know, I don't know that we've completely gotten that far yet. We're working hard to evaluate what we have here, and I think that there's a lot of nice pieces to work with, and we'll continue to go down that road as we work through player acquisition, and then obviously when we get our opportunity to get our hands on these guys and coach them a little bit.
Do y'all notice what these guys all keep talking about? He said player acquisition. Miss Matrix, are you still here? Are y'all hearing this? They're telling us what they're doing, guys. They're telling us what they're doing. They know full well. They've been talking about this. It's obvious. And I don't even think they're trying to do this. But these guys are on the same page. We heard the defensive coordinator say it. Now we're listening to the offensive coordinator say it. Player acquisition.
But probably a little bit too early to know that.
Clayton, Todd Archer with ESPN. What's your background with Brian Schottenheimer? And now are you kind of just learning what he wants, how it meshes what you've done in the past? Where are you guys in that process of scheme-wise?
Yeah, that's exactly where we're at, is just trying to mesh what the vision of what he wants is, because he's going to call the plays. And so I think it
You heard what he said, Miss Matrix? Yeah, Brian Schottenheimer's going to call the plays.
would be dumb on my part to try to force a lot of things on that call sheet that he doesn't want to call or he doesn't feel comfortable calling. So I have not had a major background with him. I had talked football with him in the past. I had known him a little bit, but we're really excited. I'm very excited to work with him and just to continue to learn each other a little bit. And I think that that's always going to be a process of, you're we're all molded a little bit by our experiences. And so there's going to be, we're going to get out into some practices and talk through some things, and I'm going to see some things differently. He's going to see some things differently, and it's going to be a growing process. You get into games and you have to have those same type of experiences, both good and negative.
Clarence Hill, All-City DLLS. Can you talk about your relationship with Riley and being with offensive line coach? How much will you be a part of the offensive line, or will you stay away from that?
I definitely won't stay away from that. I think that it's a little bit to be determined exactly how all those things are going to work, because I think we need to get out and coach these guys a little bit, and we need to get past the point where we're just all trying to speak the same language, which is kind of where we're at right now. In regards to my involvement with the offensive line, is I want to have a great relationship with all these guys, and I really want to build genuine relationships so that they know that I'm here to help them play the best football of their careers, and that they know that we're going to have a very clear and communicated standard for what we expect from them. For me, that's going to start in the offensive line room, and I'm very excited about. Also, like I said, I need to have that same relationship with Dak. I need to have that same relationship with CD. So my time's going to be spread a little bit more in that way, but it's going to start in the offensive line.
Background with Riley.
Yeah, and Connor is. I've actually known him a long time. He and I have never worked together. We've talked football many times. Spent, for guys that have never worked together, probably a fair amount of time together. And then I always think this is, you can assess offensive lines or any position group really when you're evaluating what you think that a coach does, but nothing speaks like the tape. And one thing that I've always respected about Connor Riley over the years of just evaluating his players coming out in the draft, and even just evaluating his scheme when I was coaching in college, the players play good. And he's had good players too, but that's your responsibility as a position coach, is what's on the tape. Are they doing it right? Are they playing violent? Are they finishing? Those are the things that you look for.
Watkins, Dallas Morning News.
Now, did y'all catch what he said? Are they playing violent? Whew. Man, this guy different right here. this dude right here is different. Miss Bay says, see, this is why I come here. I haven't caught all the pressers, but I know you want it, G. Thank you. I'm trying to give us the information, because I'm telling it. I mean, Miss Major, this guy said violent. Gosh, this guy's intense. He's a great addition. This guy right here, he's bringing something to the offense that we have not heard in a long time. Physicality. This man's talking about violence. This man is talking about violence as it pertains to running the ball. I've said this. Some people think that running the ball is about having a dominant run game, as in you running for 200 and 300 yards. Running the ball is for dominating the game. I don't care if you do 27 for 57 like Philly, or you're going for 35 for 255. When you run the ball, and you can run it well, or you can just stay consistent with it, you keep your offense open, you keep your offense versatile, and you stop those teams that just want to tee off on your quarterback. Those teams that say, we're going to rush 4 today. We're going to rush 4 and stop you. I dare you. I dare you to rush 4 and stop me. Because we're going to run so violently against those 4 guys. 5 on 4, we're going to run so violently. You're going to have to bring somebody down. You're going to have to start making those linebackers creep up, or they're going to have to be peeking in the backfield. The safeties now, they can't even mind their business with these wide receivers. They're going to have to be peeking in the backfield. Oh, no, we're going to make you come out of that drop 7, rush 4. We'll run you out of it. And if you want to stay in it all day long, we'll run it all day long. And we'll run it violently. You run the ball to dominate the game. And you'll crack some. You'll make some big runs here and there. Why? Because you continue to crack and crack and crack and crack. And before you know it, the dam break. The dam breaks. the dam absolutely breaks. And what this guy is talking about, boy, this is exactly what you need. Man, you don't just need a run game. You need a violent run game. And I was saying this last year, and I don't know if people were listening, but what did I keep saying? If you ask any offensive lineman starting out, what would you rather do? Pass block or run block? I guarantee you they'll tell you run block. The way they started out this offensive line this year was terrible. They were desperately trying to get them to, okay, we're going to let Dak throw all over the field again. We were not built like that. The offensive line was too young. The best thing we could have did for them, we should have been running. I was screaming this the whole season. They should have been running Rico Dowdle from the beginning. They should have been running Rico Dowdle and Zeke too if they wanted to. They should have been running both of them. They should have been running. You get that defense physically tough by running the ball. And then you can get them used to pass blocking. But man, the Cowboys came out trying to throw the ball like the defense was all that in a bag of chips. Nah. I mean, like the offensive line was all that in a bag of chips, and they were not. Chanel, she says Tet will be there at 12. Yes, G is 6'5", but 4'5", 40 does not scare defenders. He has height, chat, but scared of him being an upgraded Michael Gallup. Yeah, exactly.
How much have you had a chance to talk to Dak or CD or any other veteran?
I'm going to let y'all see here now. I just want you to hear some of this guy and the way he looks and the way he talks. I mean, and he's talking about violence and things like that as far as it pertains to running. But this guy's different, guys. This guy's intense, though, man. I like it.
Your time with him, and how was he supportive throughout this process?
It's a good question. It's really the first time that I had worked for somebody that I was close friends with before. We were assistant coaches.
I'm sorry. I got you, Chanel.
So we had
okay, you said I'm a man. I got you. Okay, I'm sorry.
Really
you said that's you and your niece. Man, I can't see the picture sometimes so small. Gotcha. Okay, I got you, brother. Appreciate you.
I think that, one of the things that Jonathan does as good as anybody else is set the tone for the environment of serving the players. And I was very impressed.
So I noticed that y'all are talking about T. McMillan. And I've been talking about this guy. You've heard me mention his name. Let me tell you something, man. There is a guy that I've talked about that I would not be mad if the Cowboys got this guy. Let me show y'all a wide receiver. I've been looking at his tape. And this guy's tape is so impressive. All he does is get open. He's 6'1", runs a 4.3 40. I'm going to tell you a guy that I would not be mad if the Cowboys said, hey, man, we're not even sweating T. McMillan because I wanted T. McMillan. But again, this is the guy that I would not mind the Cowboys getting. None other than Emeka Egbuka. Have y'all watched tape on this guy? Look at this. Just watch this guy, man. Look at this dude. This dude is a workhorse running back. Wide receiver. A workhorse. Great hands. He just seems to always be open. Good separation. Look at him. This dude is serious, man. Look at this. This is what I call impressive. I noticed this about him. He catches passes when guys are right up on him. I watched some T. McMillan tape the other day, and I was a little bit surprised. He dropped some passes. Now, I've seen some tape where he's got some very good hands, but I've also seen him drop some passes. I'm pretty sure they all do. But when you watch this guy, guys, let me tell you something. He's serious. Watch this. Watch the speed on this guy. Look at the speed on this guy. Watch this. This is 4.340 speed. This dude right here, man, Emeka Ibuka, man, let me tell you something. This dude is serious. Watch what I tell y'all. Whoever get this guy, you watch what I tell you. He's going to be a superstar. Man, I would love for Dallas to get this guy. This dude is sick. Look at the catches. Look at the catch. Guy right up on him. That's what you want. That's exactly what you want. I love how he gets the tight catches. He gets open. Look at this. Look at the catch. This guy is crazy, man. This guy is crazy. Look at the cat. This, I'm telling y'all, this dude is serious. Look at the catches, man. The catches. This dude is serious. Man, I've been watching. I went around looking at tape at this guy, man. This dude is crazy with it. And he's not a small kid. He's 6'1", and he's got some weight on him. He can catch over the right hand shoulder and the left hand. Highly productive, guys. Highly productive. And he can take the top off of a defense. He 4.340. He 4.340. And anybody who's ever ran track, let me tell you something. If you don't think there's a difference in a 1/10 of a second, go to a track meet. You'll see it. This guy's concentration level, guys, is crazy. His concentration level is crazy. Hands catcher. I am very interested to see what this guy does at the combine. I got a funny feeling, man, this guy might go to the combine. This guy might go to the combine, guys, and his draft stock may rise. I'm serious. This guy, man, I'm telling you, this guy is crazy with it. This dude is crazy with it. See, one of the things I think we got to be real careful of is being drunk on Genty. You know, being set on getting some of the guys who everybody wants. I said this earlier. What about the guy behind him? I said this earlier. If it was me, I'm doing all my research. I want to know if I got a guy that everybody wants extremely bad, but I know I need multiple players on my team. They want this guy extremely bad. Well, now I'm going to do my homework. What's the drop-off? What's the drop-off to the next guy? am I falling off a cliff or am I falling off the curve? Because if I'm falling off the curb, I'm not going to trip. I'm like, wait a minute. So I can get this guy who is almost as good as this guy. But if I let this guy go, I can get the guy right here that's second best and then get me another draft pick in the process. I'm taking draft picks. I'm taking draft picks. It's the same thing for me right now. If I could get Myles Garrett with the Cowboys and give up the first round draft pick, I'd give it up. I'd give up the first round draft pick. I'd come back with the second round draft pick. I would get Emeka Ibuka. And then I would come back in the third round because I promise you there's still going to be running backs there in the third round. I'll get me a running back in the third round. I would get me a running back in the third round because they're going to change. I'm telling you, this whoever gets this Emeka Ibuka guy, watch what I tell you. We're going to be hearing about this guy on Sunday. We're going to be hearing about this guy on Sundays. We're going to be hearing about this guy on Sundays. He is going to be absolutely crazy. He's sick. I'm telling you, just wait till we get to the pros. And he gets with a quarterback that really can put that ball up in the air. And he's going to be able to get behind those defenses. Whoa, you better get ready. You better get ready. Chanel, man, I'm telling you, man. He said, I want Booker like there is no tomorrow. Hey, Chanel, I saw him, and I said, yeah. I'd already said I wouldn't mind having him. Man, I went back and started looking at him and T-Mac tape. I said, man, this dude right here, all he does, man, hey, Chanel, I'm just telling you, he runs a 4.2 because this is what I'm thinking. I was thinking the same thing. When he go to the combine, this dude mess around and run a low 4.3, 4.2. Watch that draft stock. We'll just watch it go up. Y'all know how this combine goes. These people change their trajectory getting in these doggone combines and running these fast 40 times. But this guy right here, nah, he the real deal. Man, he the real deal. You can see it. You can see it. He jumps off the tape. Suge Midnight, what's going on with you? There's so many running backs in this draft. There are so many running backs in this draft. We cannot fail. We can't. Chanel, I said the same thing. Dallas should let a team that is thirsty for Genty offer them some picks to take him and take them and then draft. Yeah. Yes. I said the same thing. If I get a team that's just drunk for a player, Tennessee Titans, I'm telling y'all, if what they're saying about Tennessee is true, they're smart. So Las Vegas, how bad do you want Shedeur Sanders? How bad do you want Shedeur Sanders? Because we're bringing Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, y'all. Sam Darnold is going to be a bridge quarterback for some team that says, we're not going to get a quarterback this year. We'll bring in Sam Darnold, and we'll try to see if we can get in the Manning sweepstakes or one of the quarterbacks that's coming out next year. And I think there is another quarterback, if everything that I'm hearing is correct, he may be another quarterback that's going to shake up the draft and may allow another team to say, we're not going to draft a quarterback. We'll go get David Carr. I get the brothers mixed up sometimes. Is it David Carr for the Saints? Or is it Brandon Carr? I get them mixed up. Derek Carr, not David Carr. Derek Carr. If I'm a team, they're saying that Derek Carr may be released by the Saints because people been talking this crazy talk about Dak being traded to the Saints. Dak is not going to the Saints, even though his hometown, I think, is in Louisiana. I'm telling us that there are going to be some teams that are going to say, man, we'll just take some of these. We'll take one of these bridge quarterbacks and we'll get a draft pick or two. If it was me, I would. Because a lot of people are saying there's not a first round. I know some people don't like it. Some people are saying there's not a first round grade on Shador. And now we got Cam Ward saying he's going to make every team regret if they pass him over. Cam need to understand something. Cam Ward, you're a good quarterback, maybe even a great quarterback. But understand something, bro. These guys have already done their work on you. They've already done their work on you, bro. Now, you can prove a lot of them wrong, but I'm going to tell you something about these quarterbacks like Cam Ward may not understand. Man, sometimes one of the best things that can happen to you. How much you bet Jaden Daniels right now is saying, glad I didn't go to the Chicago, I'm glad that the Chicago Bears didn't take me. Jaden Daniels is probably not Jaden Daniels with the Chicago Bears. As a matter of fact, I know he's not doing the same thing he's doing this year. Some of these guys like Cam Ward and all of them, man, they probably don't even understand how blessed they would be if they actually went to a team that was not the worst team in the league. Like Patrick Mahomes wound up going to the Kansas City Chiefs. Like Lamar Jackson wound up going to the Baltimore Ravens. Dak Prescott wound up going to the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world to not be drafted first. I know some people, oh, that's ego. Man, I was drafted first. Man, I don't care nothing about being drafted first. If I'm a good quarterback, man, I'd rather be on a team that can win. I'm with you, Chanel. He says, take Hampton and Egbuka. Yes, I would too. And then you can still draft the number 2 later. Man, I would. Man, I'm telling you, I would draft Hampton in a heartbeat. Daniel Lim, he said you have 2 things at this draft. Either draft Egbuka or Banks at 12 or trade down and gain multiple picks. And I'm going to tell you something. The Cowboys, if Genty is gone and T-Mac is gone, they got to make a choice. They either got to go and get Egbuka, and I think Egbuka might be gone. Egbuka is already, Emeka Egbuka is already projected to go in the first round. So the Cowboys can't wait on him the way they can probably, I would not be surprised if the Cowboys could get Amarion Hampton. What is that, the 44th pick? He might still be there at the 44th pick. They could get Egbuka, get Amarion Hampton, and then get a defensive tackle in the 3rd. They'd be right on time. They would be right on time because picking in the early part of those rounds is going to help them. It is. It's going to help them a lot. It's going to help them. Yeah, thank y'all, Derek Carr. Yeah. They're saying that he might be out there. Chanel, I don't want Manning as I believe he is overhyped. Man, let me tell you something. Boy, man, let me tell you something. People do not understand. This is a different era. I don't even know if Peyton Manning, and I'm not saying he couldn't because Peyton Manning was a great quarterback, but this era, man, Peyton Manning did not come in winning. Dak Prescott, C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels. Those 3 quarterbacks in particular, there's probably a couple of more. Think about their rookie seasons. Insanity. Jaden Daniels, people act like they hadn't seen this before. Jaden Daniels, though, he went to the NFC Championship game. Unfortunately for us, if I'm not mistaken, didn't we have the number 1 seed? Unfortunately for us, we came up against doggone Aaron Rodgers. But everybody thought that this team with Dak Prescott in his rookie season was going to the Super Bowl. They were that dominant. Zeke was crazy. Zeke was crazy in Dak's rookie year. We get these quarterbacks now, man, they're coming out in their rookie seasons doing crazy stuff. Imagine if Aaron Bleeping Rodgers hadn't been there for the Dallas Cowboys in their first playoff game when they're 13-3 with Dak Prescott. They probably win. And if they get past Green Bay, I think they do go to the Super Bowl. I think they go. We get these teams now, man, these rookie quarterbacks are hitting the field and immediately being successful. Man, Arch Manning mess around and get on one of these sorry teams. Because you know he going to a sorry team, y'all. He's going to a sorry team. So you know you're not going to have all the players around him as the moment he hit the league. What do? Literally, what do you do? I don't even know if some of these players could last a day in this current climate. Chanel said, Diggs can't run with Buka, trust me. Are we talking about Stephon? 40-yard dash in 4.21 seconds set by Xavier Worthy. I remember him. As Tekka said, Joshua Dobbs, Sam Darnold, Justin Fields, and Russell Wilson are the notable free agent quarterbacks. Yep. Hey, man, I'm telling you, some of these teams, I would really evaluate who are these players that some of these teams want, because I would be willing to trade backwards and get more picks if I'm one of these teams that need a quarterback. So I think we may see that. Douglas Harrison, do you think they will address safety? Man, let me tell you, I got a crazy theory. I could be totally wrong. Jerry Jones loves him some Deion Sanders. I would not be surprised if Jerry tried to draft Shiloh Sanders. I think they may address it. They may actually address safety even in free agency if they don't keep the guys they have. Gary said, I'm sorry, but I am not sold on Cam Ward. Man, Gary, there's a lot of people that's not sold on Cam Ward. Nor should do it Sanders. I'm telling you, man, there are people that don't have them at first-round grades. Michael James, man, let me tell you, I do not want Stephon Diggs in Dallas. I am not at this stage of Stephon Diggs' career, man, I'm just not a Stephon Diggs fan. Stephon Diggs, he's coming off injury. These guys, when they come off those knee injuries, they're not the same. I would not want Stephon Diggs. I think you do better going in the draft and getting that Buka. I would get him. I don't know, man. There has been a lot of talk about this Cooper Kupp stuff. So, Danglim, he said, you mentioned the defensive tackle in round 3. I have several talkers that I would want to run by you. Deion Walker, the D tackle from Kentucky. Yeah, I saw him, 300 pounds. Yeah, dude is a truck to move. Yeah, I saw him. I was looking at defensive tackles the other day, and I saw him up there. Yeah, he's a big guy. Because there's going to be, let me see here. Yeah, there's going to be guys in this thing. Let's see. What did he say this name? Let's see. What is his name again? Deion Walker. All right, let's see. Yes, sir. Deion Walker, Kentucky. See what he do here. Let's look at his draft profile real quick. See what he looking like here. 6'6", yes, sir. 6'6", 345. You can already see him right there. He's running through them boys at Clemson. He got an 85 rating. Says his draft projection, second round, late in the second round. He could possibly be. Hey, you know what? He could possibly be there in the third, especially when you're talking about late second. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone, simply because now, man, it's a copycat league. Everybody's going to be trying to adopt rush 4, drop 7. So these defensive tackles are going to be at a premium. They really are. Alfred Collins, the defensive tackle from Texas. Texas is a solid option at 76. He's 6'5", and he's over 300 pounds. And that's really the big thing you're looking at with these doggone defensive tackles, is you want the size. I mean, the weight. It said Alfred Collins. Let's see. Yes, sir. I see him here. Man, there's going to be guys here. And you know the funny thing is, man, if you got the right staff, you can get some of these guys and make them great. I mean, you really can. Man, you can make some of these guys great. Alfred Collins, yes, sir. Yeah, he's 6'5", 320. See what his projection is. Another second round, late second round. Yes, sir. Position rank number 18. Yeah, there's going to be players. The Cowboys going to have an opportunity. They're going to have an opportunity. I mean, all the way. Even like I said, down to the third round, there will be some good defensive tackles. I mean, they got Oso Digizua in the third. Yes, sir. I know, Chanel. You can't tell people that Peyton Manning won his first Super Bowl going on age 31. And a lot of people said this, that if you look at his career and Dak Prescott's career, it's like they're kind of, we'll see what happens with Dak. But they're saying that this is why a lot of people should continue to just wait and see what Dak Prescott does. See, we've been spoiled by these young quarterbacks. These young quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes getting Super Bowls this young. Not understanding, other than him, who was it? Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford, older quarterbacks. I mean, we act like these young guys been winning them all along, like they're winning them back to back to back. No. Now we got another young guy. We got Jalen Hurts. So we've had two young guys, two older guys. We've been spoiled by these younger quarterbacks, man, thinking, we're thinking the answer is always a young quarterback, and stuff like that, which that's good to have, but it's good to have an older quarterback too. This all depends on what your team looks like. We're going to see what the Cowboys do this year. They have a great opportunity. I can tell you that. They have a great opportunity. Miss Matrix, all these quarterbacks overhyped in the draft. Yeah. As Tom Brady said, we have to sit these young guys behind a great team and develop them. Archie could be trash. Yep, for sure. For sure. And I'm telling you, you can tell he's got the tools. What people need to understand, and this is my fear with Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders has always had a plethora of skill positions. You come to the pros, you just don't start out like that. You don't. You don't start out like that. You don't start out with a lot of great players unless you get lucky and you get drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, man, people do not understand how blessed Patrick Mahomes is. Could we imagine again that Patrick Mahomes went to the Bears, Cleveland, the Jets? I mean, we're talking quarterback purgatory places. No, thank you. No, thank you. So when we think about quarterbacks going later in these drafts and getting on good teams to where you can insulate them, you put a defensive line in front of them. I mean, an offensive line in front of, in front of them. Defensive line on the other side of them. Let me tell you, we're everybody's talking about the Eagles. Let me tell you who we really need to be worried about. We need to be worried about coming up the Washington Commanders. They have a rookie quarterback. Now he won't be a rookie, but he's on a rookie quarterback deal. Oh, my gosh. He's on a rookie quarterback deal. The Commanders got to cash in now. The Commanders have to cash in now over the next 4 years. And it better be in the next 3. They better cash in with Jaden Daniels. They better get a Super Bowl. I got a story. I got some content we're gonna deal with tomorrow night, and I think I'm gonna come back to. I'll probably be back. I'm probably going back to my 6:30 time because I know some of my regular audience. A lot of y'all are the regular audience, but some of the audience they can't stay up late. So I want to catch some of them too. Daniel Lim said, "G and Walker is a good in coverage too. is good in coverage too as a defensive tackle. When he was playing for Kentucky, he played back in coverage and he disrupted passing play his past year due as an athlete. Yeah, I'm telling you, and the thing is, Daniel, if you get some of these guys, people say, oh, well, he's not this and that. Well, if you get the guys that got the talent, get them with the coach that can develop them. Yeah, there's even defensive tackles in the late rounds they can look at too. Patrick Jenkins from Tulane is a solid player, 6'3", and he's a good project to have in your later rounds. And you know what else we can look at? The undrafted. I'm always interested in who they get in these undrafted. They get the guys after the draft. I'm always interested in those guys because, man, some of those guys can turn out to be some great players in the league. Yes, Azteca, what's going on? USFL here. You know what I was thinking the other day? I saw the USFL commercial. I said, okay, so the Cowboys have got 2 great players from the Spring League. So we got Kevontae Turpin, we got Brandon Aubrey. And I was thinking when I saw the commercial, I said, I wonder who will the Cowboys get this year? Who will the Cowboys get this year? Because I think they're going to go back to there again. John Cross is a non-factor. Speed meant nothing. He was not a good player. I did like over 30 mock drafts in the last 8 weeks or so, and most of them are trade down scenarios because I need as many picks as I can because I don't have a 4th round pick. Well, the Cowboys already have 10 picks. Yeah, they already have 10 picks. So we'll see what they do with all of them. Gary McKnight, am I the only one that have belief in Trey Lance? I think you're going to see in free agency. Because I'll tell you this, Gary McKnight, if I was a team like the Raiders, if I was a team like maybe even Tennessee, even Cleveland, I'd bring in Trey Lance. I would. If I'm Cleveland, I'd bring in Trey Lance. I'd bring him, hey, man, let me tell you what we're going to do. We got 1 more year to deal with Deshaun Watson. But Deshaun Watson is not coming back this year. He has an Achilles. So I tell you what we're going to do. You're going to be a quarterback for the whole year. Come hell or high water, Trey Lance, you're the quarterback. We'll give you 2 for 30. We'll give you 2 years for $30 million. I mean, we're talking mere chump change. I mean, you could literally put Trey Lance on one of these rookie quarterback deals. Hey, man, we give you 4 years, $25 million. Oh, okay. I mean, is he going to turn it down? I mean, if you got Trey Lance and put him on a 4 for 30, and really only 3 of the years would be guaranteed, but you could get him $30 million for 3 years. And then give him incentives. Hey, and if you throw this many touchdowns, and if you run this many touchdowns, and you run this many yards, and we win this many games, and we get to the playoffs, I mean, you can incentivize this contract to the point of with a possibility, let's say, of $50 million. Okay, so what? He doesn't turn out. You're not going to lose a whole lot. But I think the upside of doing that would be, I think Trey Lance needs reps. That's all he needs. Trey Lance needs to be on a team where somebody says, hey, tell you what we'll do. This is your season. Hell or high water, it's yours. And just let him get out there and get it. And see what he is by the end of the season. 17 games. What is he? Can he stay healthy? Let's see what he is. Let's see what he is. Let's put an offense in. We're going to tailor this offense for his skill set. I would. Especially one of these teams, you're like, okay, I don't like really what's at quarterback this year. So how about we start building up the skill positions? We can get him cheap. He's young. He's athletic, big, young, athletic, strong arm. Can run the ball. 4.6 40, but hey, that ain't bad for a quarterback. Oh, I'd bring in Trey Lance. I would. You're building. What do you, how is a rookie quarterback? How is a rookie quarterback any better than Trey Lance? They need reps in the pros too. Okay, Trey Lance needs reps in the pros. We saw kind of what he did against, we saw him in the preseason. We saw him with the Washington Commanders. I thought he looked a whole lot better. Daniel Lim, I would be floored if the Dallas Cowboys drafted a quarterback in any round. I would be floored. I would be floored if they drafted a quarterback. I really would. I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they're going to do it this year and next. I think it'll be the third season. Because I think Dak is going to probably be here for 4 more years. I do. Daniel said, and they have to hit on this draft. They have to. They have to. Because to me, I think 2025 is the competitive season. I think 2026 is the chip run. I think 2025, you get back in the playoffs. I think 2026 is where you progress in the playoffs. Because they got to feel the team. When you got 25 free agents, you can only upgrade so many of those positions. You can only upgrade so many positions. So you can upgrade a few, and then you got to get you some, and some of what you draft in the draft is going to have to play now. Some of it will be depth, some of it will be you're playing now. So this year is going to be all about coaches getting the culture in place. Coaches building relationships with one another. Coaches building relationship with the team. The team getting cohesive. Culture, communication, all of that culminating into 2026. Okay, now we have the team. We're not worried about who is signing, who we're not signing. We got the team. Now the 2026 draft is different. Now it's BPA. That's what you want. 2026 needs to be BPA, best player available. That's what 2026 needs to be. But 2025, you're drafting for need, which is a predicament to be in. It is. Pure Gaming. The Cowboys are going to draft O-line with a 12th pick. Man, let me tell you, boy, if they draft O-line in the first round, man, I'm gonna be so mad. Pure Gaming. I'm going to be so mad I don't know what to do. But I'll be mad. But they better get Omarion Hampton in the second round. They better get Omarion Hampton. But I'll tell you, just me, Pure Gaming, I would rather them address defensive tackle in free agency and then get another defensive tackle in the draft. I just think the Cowboys need to go skill position in the first 2 rounds. I think the running back need to be the first round. Louise, he said, we're keeping Trey Lance. Nobody's paying him $25 million. They might pay him 20. I mean, Louise, you wouldn't take him 3 years, $20 million? You the Cleveland Browns. You wouldn't offer him 2 for 20? 3 for 20. Oh, I'd offer him. I'd offer him in a minute. Hey, man, 2 for 20. $15 million guaranteed incentives. I would. If I'm the Cleveland Browns, because the Cleveland Browns, unfortunately, they're never going to see the value out of Deshaun Watson's contract. Louise, nobody can trust Dak to stay healthy. Well, we'll see. He got hurt the last time. He lasted 3 years. So he's hurt. He got hurt again. So if he does 3 years, we're in the business. I mean, we're in business. But I think one of the things they're going to do is they're going to keep Dak Prescott upright by getting the offensive line fixed, and they're going to get him a running game. They are. Rush is a free agent as well. Well, you remember, we already got Will Grier. You already got one quarterback. So now you just wait and see what free agency looks like. Who's going to be available in free agency? And if there's somebody there in free agency, you get them. Because I don't think they're going to do quarterback in this draft. I think they'll do it not this draft or the next. I think they'll do it the second one. But we already got Will Grier. And a lot of people thought Will Grier beat out Cooper Rush that year that they cut Will Grier. So I think the Cowboys are going in planning on Dak Prescott not being hurt. But if I was them, I would definitely look at bringing in a veteran, probably not Sam Darnold, costs a little too much. But I would definitely look at bringing in whoever would be available. And that's something we'll probably look at next week. George Boney, what's going on? He says, a 49er fan, I love the passion you have for the Dallas Cowboys. Hey, man, somebody got to do it, my brother. Somebody got to do it because it's not a lot of passion about them right now. So somebody got to do it. Hey, y'all, we going to see if y'all going to get back on the horse this coming season. Man, y'all suffered a lot of injuries like the Cowboys did. Tell me, George, what do you think? Is Christian McCaffrey coming back healthy? They ought to be seriously concerned. Azteca said, I wish Dallas did Wildcat plays. Imagine Dak just slinging it and throw in Joshua Dobbs for a few plays to throw the offense off, and he can run too, like Saints would do with Breeze and Taysom Hill. Hey, somebody gonna get Taysom Hill. Man, would it not be crazy if Sean Payton picks up Taysom Hill? It will not shock me if they get Taysom Hill. It will not shock me, man. C-Bay said it starts up top. None of these roster players right now are leaders. They are boys needing to be made men. Well, I can tell you this. That doggone offensive coordinator, he going to get somebody fired up. Ted McMillan in the first and Hampton in the second. Man, can a brother dream? Hey, wild boy Trey, what's going on with you? But what about my man, Emeka Egbuka? I just showed the film on him. Daniel Lim said also, I think they're going to have to spend money, but they cannot play the we are broke card to us and say we have no money. Nope. They have the opportunity to get the money. They have the opportunity. Question is, will they do it? Wild Boy Trey said, or Genty in the first and Tez in the second. Man, what's up with Emeka Egbuka, man? KC, coaching has always mattered no matter what they told people. Coaching separates the good teams in the playoffs and always has. I 100% agree. And I can tell you this, KC, they got a coaching staff. Now we got to wait for them to jail. Clayton Adams said it. He said, we're all talking the same thing. Now we got to get to the point of where we're coaching together. We got to be coaching the same thing. Coaching the same thing. Coaching players. Things of that matter. See, base, O-line in the first means a failure in the draft. Oh, I know. Because they keep doing it. They keep doing it. They can't do it again. They just can't do it again. Louise said Kellen Moore groom Rush. Dak groom Trey. They're both free agents. So what do you think would happen if we lose both? Answer that. Who do you think you're picking in this draft? Like I said, we got Will Grier. We already have one of the quarterbacks. They've already signed Will Grier, so he's on the team. So the Cowboys are telling you all they're going to do is sign one more quarterback. So it's just a matter of which one of these free agents they want. There are plenty of free agent quarterbacks, just a matter of which one do they want. Now, some of them will be going to be starting quarterbacks, some of those free agents, I'm sure, but they're going to have options. They're going to have options. Javon Kinlaw, okay. Yeah, I just saw it, Louise. Yeah, I saw it. Chanel said no defensive tackle in the draft at all. We need players. Decent defensive tackle is a free agent move. Yeah, I would definitely address it in free agency. But like I said, if I can get one in the draft that's good, I'd get him too. But I can tell you this. Hey, what about, again, I always love to see what happens after the draft. Who are the undrafted players? Could be something there too. Man, there's so many of these doggone players that fall between the cracks. I mean, players just fall between the cracks because you just can't draft all of them in 7 rounds. And so then you get the undrafted man, and maybe you can find something in that too. Man, Chanel, let me tell you something. I wish I could have got that job. They paid him $5.5 million to hold a clipboard. That's crazy work. Daniel Lim, how about some linebackers in this draft class? Barry Carter, the linebacker from Clemson, is a solid linebacker, and Danny Stutzman from Oklahoma is an underrated player. Yep, I think they're gonna do something. I think they're gonna try to get a linebacker in this draft. Unfortunately, because we don't have a 4th rounder, but I think they're gonna probably get a linebacker too in the later rounds. I think they're gonna address corner, linebacker. We know defensive tackle, probably O-line. They're just probably going to do it later this year. I also have a feeling they got 10 picks. They have 10 picks. And so on the back end of the draft, let me see here exactly. I'm not going to be surprised either if the Cowboys get another fourth round. They did it last year. I'm not going to be surprised if they do something to get back into the fourth round. I'm not going to be surprised. They did it last year. Yeah, I'm wondering where. Okay, so here we go. All right. So the Cowboys, looking at their draft picks, they have 12, 44, 76. So they got 148. So they got 3 compensatory picks. Man, this is going to be interesting right here. I'm not sure. I don't see. Hold on. Let me close this. Man, this right here. This is going to be interesting when you look at these draft picks right here in the middle. The draft picks they have in the middle are insane. Hold on a second. I got to close out a couple of things. All right. When you look at what the Cowboys have right here in the middle, this is going to be very interesting. Let's bring that back up here just a second. Hold on. This is a very interesting. I mean, I don't know. I hope it stays like this, but this is going to be very interesting right here, this compensatory pick thing. The Cowboys are going to get 168, 170, and 187. Boy, this right here hurts. Golly. This absolutely hurts. Look at the gap. You go from 76 to 148, boy, you better make these 3 up here count. You better make these 3 count because we don't even see you until 148. That's going to be a long draft day for us right there. We don't get back in this thing to 148. But boy, when we come back in, 168, 170, and 171, interesting right there. I mean, you got an opportunity just right there, man, to get like 3 good players like in a row. Boom, boom, boom. Man, that's nice right there. But this, boy, that's crazy. Boy, that is crazy work right there. That's crazy work. So, this is what the Cowboys are going to be drafting. I'm estimating that that's probably what, 5th round right there? Thinking that's 5th round right there. That 160, that 148 through 171 is probably 5th round, I'm thinking. Or at least the 5th round and then maybe the 6th. I'd have to look at that. But they're going to have an opportunity, though, right in here. If this stays the same, it says subject to change. Man, if this right here stays the same, they got an opportunity to get some players right there. If there's some players on the board, they got an opportunity to just really make some impact right here. I was saying that the Cowboys should trade maybe a couple of these picks to get back into the 4th round, but somebody suggested, they were like, no, don't trade none of those picks. Somebody said, don't trade none of those picks. They said, no, they said take all 10 of them. So, I mean, at the rate they're going, they're probably going to have to take all 10 of them. Man. I'm telling you, countdown is on, guys. I'm excited. I'm very excited about the Cowboys and what they're doing. These coaches have really, really impressed me. I was already impressed when I saw the hires. But now that I've listened to some of them, I'm just like, wow. The mentality of these coaches, man, if they rub off on this team, it's on and popping. Gabe says, so you would say this is a 3-year plan to win the Super Bowl. I think it's 2026. But yeah, it's a 3-year plan. I believe it's a 3-year plan. The Super Bowl by paying all Dak and CDs guaranteed in 25, 26, and 27. Supposedly salary cap will be up to over $281 million. This is a 3-year plan. I believe they get it in 26. Wouldn't be surprised if 27. But I believe they get it in 2026. Man. This is going to be this 2025 season to me, though. This is the most excited I've been for a season in a while. I'm excited for this 2025 season, man. I am. Man, I am telling you, I think the Cowboys are going to be nice. Yeah, you know what? I thought about Winston. And Jameis Winston, too. Winston is one of them guys that's a team guy. That's one of the things I like about Winston. Jameis Winston know his role. He know his role. He going to put in work. I like Jameis Winston. Dobbs is good, too, though. They're going to let Will Greer be Dak's backup. Yeah, they've already signed him. Louise said Dak never got hurt by another team. He slid, messed up his ankle, hit his head by stepping in on a throw it towards him and tried. Well, no, wait a minute, though. Hold on a second. No, the dude drop hip tackled him on the the dude drop hip tackled him on the ankle, man. Don't forget about that. That was a drop hip drop. I thought that was a drop hip tackle. I'll have to go back and look at that, but I thought that was for sure a drop hip tackle because Dak and that guy became real good friends after that. Nobody ever hurt him but himself. It's not like Aikman and Romo. Yeah, I think he did get on that drop hip, though. I think that got him. Egbuka in the first. There you go. Hampton in the second. Man, that dude Egbuka, man, I'm telling you. We're going to watch some more film tomorrow. We're going to watch some more video tomorrow. Will McClay is the best at undrafted free agents. Man, that's where they really need to do some work, if you ask me. Trey Lance is terrible. If he gets picked up by the Browns, I would be surprised. I'm not going to be surprised if somebody pick him up. I mean, you can't lose. Kevin Howard, do you watch the video on the wide? Give me the wide receiver name for TCU again. And we'll look at him tomorrow, Kevin Howard. Give me his name again. Ted is just an upgraded Michael Gallup. Somebody else is saying that too. I want Buka and Hampton. Also, you still might get one of them running backs from Ohio State. Man, this dude, Buka, 4.3. And you're right, man. He might run a 4.2 at the combine. He messed around and run a 4.2 at the combine. This dude's draft is going crazy. Campbell is a good draft pick at linebacker, but he won't be there by the time we pick. Yeah, I believe you. Humus Johnson, linebacker from Kentucky, is a 5th or 6th round pick. Could be a solid pickup too. Him and Overstone for the foreseeable future can feed even families from Scurry, Texas. Hey man, I'm telling you, they're gonna be able to do damage. They're gonna be able to do damage from that 168, 170, 171. Man, you could get 2 linebackers and a safety. I mean, that man, I'm very interested to see what they do with that. Pure Gaming. What was the point? We gonna see. He gonna get his shot in training camp. He will get his shot in training camp. I don't know if he gonna make it, but he gonna get his shot. Sign Dre Greenlaw and draft Jalen Walker. Greenlaw, that's the guy from San Fran, I'm thinking. Yeah, I got him on my top 10 free agents the Cowboys ought to be targeting. Yeah, he's one of the top. I would go after him, man. I would go after Dre Greenlaw. Over 2 weeks to go, and Dallas I haven't understood it yet, Gabe. I haven't understood why they haven't signed anybody. It's strange to me. And I think the one who they ought to go ahead and sign is Michael Parsons. Just go ahead. I mean, needs to be the first one signed. He needs to be the first one signed so all the talk can stop about Micah Parsons. This team, they need to work on, just stop all the unnecessary chit-chatter around the team. Man, just go ahead and sign Micah Parsons and be done with it. KC, I'm excited about these moves. Will McClay said something I've never heard the front office say. He said they wanted to be on the same page from top to bottom. Yep. I did a video on it. He did. And that has been missing for some time. Man, I'm ready. I am ready. Jerry needs better advisors. Well, we're going to see because it sounds like this. They've been talking as a team. Yeah. Yeah, I'm ready. Hire the G. Hey, I don't know about that. But, boy, I'd love to be in the room and talk to him. We're going to trade back. Man, I'm telling you. But we're going to see because we got about a month and a half to go on the draft. But I'm just interested to see when will they sign Micah Parsons. They need to get that done. Dude is begging to get signed. Let's sign him and see what happens. Gee, I checked on the mock draft. They said we have the 150 pick, not the 148 pick. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we have the 150. Whew. Boy, that's a long. Man, that's a long one. Sharon Milner said, I want Booker now bad. Pick him first and second running back, please. Man, Booker going to be a monster, whoever get this dude. I would love for the Cowboys to get him. Those late picks look great. Will McCray about to be in his bag, trust me, mainly because of the new staff. Yeah. Jerry giving up a draft pick for Lance was a dumb move. Yes. Yeah, no problem, Chanel. I'm gonna try to start doing the late show about 3 times, maybe 2 to 3 times a week. What up, Richard Owens? Good to see you. That's it, March 10th. That's all I'm waiting on, Daniel M. March 10th. I want to hear the Cowboys. I don't want to hear the Cowboys signing Micah Parsons March 10th. I want to hear the Cowboys signing Micah Parsons in February. And then we can start seeing what we're going to do. I think they need to sign Micah, flip the switch on Dak and CD's contracts, decide what they're going to do with Terrence Steele. Some people are saying rework Terrence Steele. I thought they were going to probably cut Terrence Steele. Cut the safeties. And let's go to work. But you know what? I think the reason why maybe they haven't, and I think we may see a move next week. Maybe they wanted to get the coaching staff all together first, which makes sense. Because it would mean they're doing things different again. Get the coaching staff together. Sit down and talk about personnel. And then you start making your cuts. Azteca said next 2 Super Bowls will be in Cali. Wouldn't it be awesome to win a ring in Rams House of Niners? That'd be crazy. Yes, sir. That'd be crazy. I'd love it. Don't know how long you've been on here, but I really appreciate you giving us a chance to express each of our opinions as it regards to the team we all love. Oh yeah, no doubt. We're gonna do our call-in show again on Friday. So make sure you tune in. I'll post the times. I want y'all to make sure you call in. Gabe said, I hope so. It's been a month already since Shoddy press conference. Yeah. Even Kellen Moore's got his coaching stuff done too since the Super Bowl. Yeah, I'm ready, man. I'm ready. I want the Cowboys to sign Micah Parsons, man. Sign him next week. I don't want Najee Harris, but I would take Aaron Jones. Najee Harris, to me, is too close to Rico Dowdle. He's just too close. Aaron Jones seems to still have a little bit of home run hitter in him. But me, I'll take Nick Chubb over both of them. You don't want Booker? I don't even want Booker to go to the Cowboys. Oh, okay, you don't want him to go to the Cowboys. Man, let me tell you something. That boy Booker gonna be crazy. Whoever get him, I hope the Cowboys get him. That man gonna be crazy. Yes, great show. Appreciate you, Miss Matrix. Yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Yeah, we're going to have the call-in number up on Friday, so we're going to have a good old time. And, of course, we're going to do a show tomorrow, too. Gary McKnight, Run, I love the approach. Also knows that assistant coaches did not hesitate when asked about the Cowboys' identity. Yes. Yes, Gary McKnight. They said Shoddy made it absolutely clear. Yes, culture, physicality, and run. We know what they're going to do in the draft, Gary. We know what they're going to do in the draft. We just don't know who they're going to get. What about Matt Collins from the Bills as wide receiver talking for the Cowboys? He's a big target, and he's still young. Yeah. But let me tell you, even if the Cowboys were to get a wide receiver in free agency, I would still want them to get a wide receiver in the second round. Unless they got T. Higgins. And if they got T. Higgins, I'd say I could pass on the second round. I could say I'd pass on it. I'd be okay then. Javon Kinlaw and Milton Williams for the price of Osa. Yeah, a lot of people been saying stuff like that. Jordan Mason and draft the running back. Yeah, he's a possibility too. Javonte Williams. Yep. T-Mac is Yeah, you know what? That's probably what he reminds you of, Larry Fitzgerald. Yeah, for sure, Lewis. We got to get a wide receiver for sure. We have to. All right, guys, I appreciate you rocking with me late night, but I think tomorrow I'm going to get back to around 6:30. So I'm trying not to be on at the same time as some of the other content creators. I mean, I want everybody to be, I don't want us to be competing because some of you guys like to do all the shows. So, but again, I got to get back to my 6:30, and I'm going to probably do this about 2 to 3 times a week on my late show. Maybe Wednesdays, probably be Wednesdays and Fridays, something like that. Wednesdays and Fridays, or either Wednesdays and Sundays. It'll probably be Wednesdays and Sundays. So, all right, guys, again, I appreciate you. I'll be back tomorrow sometime around 6:30. Don't worry, Chanel, if I come on at 6:30, I'll definitely be going past 8 o'clock. So, all right, again, until the next time, let's talk Cowboys. We talk facts. Peace.